Man, what is up? How's everybody doing? Hey man, how y'all doing, man? Y'all ready? You ready to get this week started? You ready? We got a lot to get into, man. We got a lot to get into. You know, I guess I'll start with a bit of confession today. Okay, first of all, how was the weekend, guys? How'd you guys make out this weekend? Did you have fun? Did you get some family time? Did you get some relaxation? What happened this weekend? Anything cool? Let me know. I had an incredible weekend. It was awesome. A lot of fun time with the family, a lot of chilling. However, I gotta be honest, Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios tried basically everything they could to mess up my glorious weekend of rest and relaxation. So a couple of different things happened. So first of all, on Friday, I don't know if you guys saw this. A lot of you probably did. On Friday, they released the social media embargo for the Fantastic Four early. So that normally would drop today, or I guess technically tomorrow morning after the premiere, the world premiere, which is going to happen tonight. But no, Marvel decided, no, it's so cool. We want everyone to talk about it, and we want you to talk about it right now. So they did that. Oh God, that was something. So we obviously turned around and did a video early Saturday, breaking all that down. Talked to you guys on Discord about it. And I was like, okay, fine. You know, I'll do that or whatever. But yesterday, I decided I was just going to dedicate the whole day to building and painting Warhammer. I know. But to be fair, I really felt like I, number one, deserved it. Number two, I needed the break, man. I needed the break. And so yesterday, I'm sitting there painting my Warhammer, doing it. By the way, I did so much building and painting that the tips of my fingers hurt. Okay, I don't want to sound like a baby back bitch here, but like a lot of super gluing and like holding shit together, and like the tips of my fingers, and I got some paint on my hands still from painting yesterday. But the tips of my fingers, just the tip, actually hurt from like holding so many super glued little pieces of plastic together and shit like that. Anyways, the point is, I was having a glorious Sunday. And then Kevin Feige drops, like, out of nowhere, one of the biggest fucking interviews of all time, man. Like, so much stuff, so much Marvel stuff going on. Like, it's absolutely fucking insane. And I say all of that to say, because I'm going somewhere with this, okay? Listen, Linda. Guys, I was supposed to take today off, okay? I talked about this a little bit on Friday, okay? Not to make this whole stream about Josh complaining, but here we fucking go, chat. On Friday, I had said, you know, guys, it's been a great week of streaming. You know, I really appreciate it. We really brought the energy. We had a good bunch of streams, but I'm really tired, and it's really difficult to make dope videos while also streaming every day. It's really draining. And I said last week, I was like, I'm probably going to take a couple of days off next week. When I woke up on Sunday, okay, it wasn't just that I was going to do Warhammer all day yesterday. It's that I was going to do Warhammer all day yesterday, and I thought I was going to take today off streaming. But anyway, we're here, of course, because can't take day off when they drop all of this goddamn shit. There's so much DC. There's so much DC stuff. There's so much Marvel stuff to get into today. So that's what we're going to do. But, Chad, I do want to warn you, and I guess this is where the bad news is. We got good news and bad news. Good news and bad news. The good news is we're here today. I was up early in the morning. I've got a bunch of notes. We have so much to get into today. It is juicy, baby. Truly, this is going to be juicy. So there's that. That's the good news. The bad news is I absolutely need to take not just tomorrow, but Wednesday off of streaming as well. Okay, so I'm just going to put it out right now. I know it's going to be crazy. No morning stream tomorrow. No morning stream on Wednesday. I'll still do the Nerdvenger stream Wednesday night. We'll be back at it on Thursday. We'll be back at it on Friday, which, by the way, Friday will probably be a spoiler-filled stream where we talk about Fantastic Four. But yeah. We'll figure it out. But the reality is, I need time to go take care of all this other stuff. Number one, I need to make other videos. There's a lot of other, there's emails and stuff. There's a lot of shit going on. 100% need to take the next 2 days off of streaming. Don't worry. We'll be back on it Thursday. We'll have a great stream Thursday. We'll have a great stream Friday. Everybody fucking relax. Okay, so that's what's going on. They're not really days off because I'll be working on other stuff. But yeah. Just need a couple of days off streaming. That's all. Anyway, Brandon Skelenar Doom variant in the plot leak. Jesus Christ. Okay, give me 1 second here, guys. I actually need to. We're gonna get started here in a second, and oh my god, we have this we have this huge article here. And we'll get into it, but I actually do need to go change something a little bit because I got to get the additional air conditioner in here. Give me 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. We're gonna get into. There's so much to get into. Oh my god. Oh, dude, it's juicy, baby. We got a lot to get into today. We got a whole bunch of Marvel stuff, a whole bunch of Kevin Feige stuff, a lot of DC stuff too. There's actually the Superman box office. There's this Jimmy Olsen show, which actually seems incredible. I've been sold on a gentleman named Nate Mann as Batman, and also James Gunn lying about Henry Cavill, and I can prove it. So we got a lot to get into on that, and then of course there's plenty of Marvel stuff to get into as well. I don't know. Are we ready? I feel like we're not quite ready yet. I feel like we need to chill just a minute more. What else is on your mind, chat? Before we get into it, what else is going on? Funky Sam says, so Josh, let's start with the basic facts. To which trade did Kevin Feige give an interview? So, from what I understand, he gathered many different journalists from many different outlets, and I believe these interviews were conducted last week. I assume they'll get into it, but it seems like basically all the Hollywood trades, and maybe more. What time is it for me? It is 10:09 in the morning for me. What time is it for you? I'm sitting at a pool in Barbados. Life is good. Hell yeah, brother. Oh, I'm jealous, man. I'm jealous. This guy's in Barbados in a pool, man. Holy. He's got 2 years left, then on to Star Wars. Maybe. We'll see. 1609. Wow, okay. You guys are from the same place, huh? 3 p.m.? What? Was there actually a Doomsday plot leak? No. So all of the Doomsday stuff is actually fake. And finally, some of the other scoopers chimed in. It kind of seems like that James Mack guy that we've been following along with, I think he's full of shit. Bro, get to it, LOL. Hey, you just relax over there, man. Okay? I just fucking... I'll get to it in a second. Can't we just chill a little bit? Can't we just chill and be friends? Louis says, take the days off. You need it. Chat is crazy sometimes. Hype F4 this week, Nerdvengers for life. Oh, yeah, for sure. No, chat is really crazy. That's actually not the issue, though. It's just just got a lot going on. Gotta set some things in motion. Need to take some time away from the stream. Streaming's great, dude. I love streaming. But the problem is it's just very draining and time consuming. So it's very hard to do a 3-4 hour stream. and then turn around and like do a bunch of other work like on videos and shit like that. So it's like, it's tough. Bro, if everything James Mangold said is fake, that would suck. Not gonna lie, he said crazy shit. Yeah, so the deal is, it seems like it's fake in the sense that he is getting scoops. He is actually just taking old scoops and then speculating and drawing some conclusions. So there's probably a lot of stuff that he's talking about that will be in the movie in some way, shape, or form. But it's different than being like, oh, dude, this dude's scooping it up. He knows exactly what's going on. Does that make sense? When are you seeing F4? I'm seeing it on Thursday. I actually still have to buy tickets. I'm one of those terrible people. I haven't bought tickets yet, but I'm going to buy tickets later today. Yeah, the wife and I will go out Thursday afternoon and see it. I'll probably do a video that night, like maybe a out of the theater reaction type video. Although last time I did that, my phone was like dead by the end of the movie, and I totally fucked up when I saw Superman. But yeah. Your streams have been the catalyst of my days. I greatly appreciate it. I'm new to the community. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you're having a good time over here. Yeah, we definitely have fun, man. You know, a lot of nerdy stuff going on. I feel like, man, I guess I'll say this because I was kind of thinking about this over the weekend because, man, Superman had a good weekend. You know, I don't know if it had like as good of a weekend as some people are suggesting, but Superman had a good weekend. Superman is here to stay. The DCU is here. Okay. These comments by Marvel are really interesting. Marvel obviously aiming up, you know, Fantastic Four this week. Looks to be great. Looks to be performing pretty well. Beyond that, though, this new interview with Feige really speaks to, like, the reboot and the X-Men. I mean, it seems like the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to have DCU versus the new MCU, the MCU reset. And that's fascinating. And it's going to be really interesting to see these two kind of developing universes happen over the next 5 to 6 years. And, you know, it's almost one of those things, guys, where I feel like right when I'm out, they pull me back in or something like that, you know? Because, like, dude, I've been really fatigued on Marvel lately. And frankly, I've been fatigued on a lot of, like, Western media. Like, dude, I'm just into Warhammer. You know, I'm enjoying anime and stuff like that. So for me, I was kind of pivoting into Warhammer anyway, and I was like, man, like this comic book shit. However, it seems like this comic book shit isn't going away anytime soon. And these two big companies, these big universes, they've got a lot of cards yet to play. I think this stuff's going to be sticking around. So I'm interested to get into it today. And I think buckle up, baby, because Den of Nerds is not going anywhere. And it seems like we're going to have plenty to discuss, not only in the next couple of weeks, you know, a la Superman versus Fantastic Four, but in the next several years, a la DC versus Marvel. This thing is heating up. And on top of that, we sort of have the video game stuff on the heels. I think that's going to be fun for the community, too. You know, getting into these video games, characters a little bit more. I want to do some dedicated streams where we like deep dive on like Zelda, you know, for instance, because that's going to be a big movie, and other things like that. So a lot of fun, nerdy stuff, man. Matt says with a 10 spot, appreciate the support, man. Says, man, does it feel good to finally be up early enough to catch a morning stream? Thanks for filling my free time with the Clips channel videos recently, brother. Keep up the great content. Yeah, appreciate you, man. We definitely have a lot of content flying out there every week. If you have not checked out the Clips channel, I mean, it's doing big numbers. I would imagine a lot of you guys are over there. For a small channel, it's kind of crushing. And, yeah, I feel good. We're definitely making a lot of good content and different kind of content, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Marvel is Jover. Oh, I highly doubt that, man. I will say, you know, to that sentiment, I do think there is an interesting anti-MCU sentiment. I think a lot of it's like online. Something really interesting is happening with both Superman and with Fantastic Four. So if you look on the internet right now, a lot of people don't like Superman. There's a lot of people that talk shit on Superman on the internet. Okay? But you look at the audience scores, you look at what this movie is doing, it seems like a lot of the internet discourse is not having like a relevant effect on the box office. And I think that's going to be the same thing with Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four looks to be opening bigger than Superman, you know, and we'll go over that a little bit later. I think Fantastic Four is going to do great, you know, $700, $800 million probably. worldwide. And yet, you will have a lot of people that are like really vocally against Marvel and against the movie online. We might be entering I almost feel like, and maybe I shouldn't even say this, like knock on wood. I almost feel like we're starting to get into a post-grifter reality. Because, number one, YouTube's actually making some changes to actually kill some grifting content, which is like a whole nother thing. But also, I think a lot of folks are just over it. You know what I mean? And it could just be as simple as, I don't want to keep showing up and getting the same programming over and over and over and over and over again. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll kind of keep an eye on that. But the Superman box office is interesting to me because, like, you know, you've got that whole crowd. They don't like it mostly. And Fantastic Four, you've got a lot of anti-Marvel people. Doesn't even matter anymore. If this movie crushes it, we're going to have to start ignoring some of these voices, you know, online. It's kind of interesting. Okay, should we get into it, guys? Should we get into it, or should we let it linger just a little longer? Should we get into it? Or shall we linger just a bit? Get into it? Okay, let's get into it. All right, so, look. A lot of what we're going to talk about on stream today all has to do with this big article in the Hollywood Reporter, although you can find a version of this article in Deadline and Variety as well. Marvel president Kevin Feige, I still think is the fucking GOAT, invited a bunch of journalists out, and he spoke. He answered all kinds of questions, and you're seeing versions of this interview out there today, and it's really, really crazy. Like, there's a lot of wild shit that's said, a lot of implications, definitely some PR damage control type of stuff, and we're going to be fair as always and go through it all and try to explain what's going on. The first section that I want to start with actually is talking about Superman, Fantastic Four, and this idea of homework. Okay, that's like the first thing I want to talk about here. The reason this is relevant is because right now, Marvel on the rocks, so to speak, like, you know, definitely on shaky ground, and DC starting their universe. And frankly, I think DC has been on shaky ground for like the past decade, right? So there's been a lot of like issues there. And you have at this time like James Gunn doing his thing, taking maybe things he learned from Marvel, applying them to the DCU, but also trying to do things differently with the DCU and in some certain specific ways, right? It's kind of wild. So the first part of this massive expose deals with the idea of superhero fatigue, Superman, the Fantastic Four, and the idea of homework. So let's just get right into this, okay? And I guess we'll start at the beginning here. In a nondescript conference room in a very descriptive floor of Marvel Studios, full-size Iron Man statues, superhero murals, and all that. Behind that padlocked door is a whiteboard featuring plan for Marvel movies spanning the next 7 years. Now, that's kind of wild. Something we talked about before. They actually do have stuff on a whiteboard, and they keep it up there for a long, long time. And they try to sort of tinker and figure out a way to release it. So teased Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige, the producer behind the most successful run of movies in Hollywood's history, as he welcomed a select group of journalists into the same room where he first met Doctor Strange star Benedict Cumberbatch and where the filmmaker Chloe Zhao pitched her take on Eternals. Marvel run has been tested of late, this year especially, with Thunderbolts and Captain America Brave New World, which grossed among the lowest totals of the company. But Feige isn't interested in your theories of superhero fatigue, which he doesn't buy as real. He pointed to DC Studios' Superman, which is doing strong at the box office, at least domestically. Feige said he texted filmmaker James Gunn to let him know how much he liked it. I love how you just jump right into it, Feige enthused of the film, which Gunn directed after he helmed 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies for Marvel before decamping to run DC Studios. You don't know who Mr. Terrific is? Tough. You'll figure it out. You don't know what this is? Just go. That is fully fleshed out world, which is cool. That's true. That's something I like about it as well. Even if he doesn't buy the idea of superhero fatigue, Feige and his team have done plenty of post-mortems on this year's underperforming movies. on all of the movies since the massive successful Avengers Endgame. Right now, the company is prepping for July 25th release of its latest movie, The Fantastic Four: First Steps. It's the first movie Marvel Studios is handling the characters after a trio of movies of various quality and box office made by 20th Century Fox before its 2019 acquisition by Disney. There was also a never-released 1994 feature-produced low-budget Roger Corman. We all watched that on stream together. Do you guys remember that? Pretty wild. Fun fact, the 4 stars of that movie cameo in Fantastic Four: First Steps. Whoa, breaking news. I think it's probably just a fun little cameo. Let's keep going here. One thing Feige seemed to relish is that this new movie is mostly self-contained, and it's in a fully fleshed out world that doesn't require the dreaded word homework. We didn't want to have an Eternals issue where where have they been? How did they not help with Thanos? He explained. We wanted them to be apart from our reality so that we didn't have to say, oh, look, they were hiding over there. And highlighting the 1960s aesthetic, more than just a period piece. It's a unique aesthetic that felt like it could absolutely be its own world, its own reality, Feige said. And when shown to audiences in the screening process that we do leading up to it, people just accept it right off the bat and feel liberated that they could just enjoy what's ahead of them. He underscored. It's no homework required. Okay. Now, let's stop for a second here. You know, you'd be forgiven for sort of losing the lead there. What is this entire sentiment about? What they're saying is Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios brought all these journalists out to Marvel, and they sat down in this interview, and basically everybody knows what it is. Okay, Marvel's on the rocks, slower year, tough. Everybody keeps saying superhero fatigue. He gets in there and he tries to draw a connection between Superman's success, which we'll talk about Superman's success, good, box office, doing well, not doing great internationally, which is kind of wild. And there's ways Superman could still go very poorly for DC. But it's interesting because he makes it a point to say, look at how Superman's doing. It can't be superhero fatigue if Superman is doing as well as it is. That's a fair point, right? Now, another interesting thing here is he tries to connect Fantastic Four to Superman by saying it's a film that you don't have to do homework for, set in this completely different universe. The aesthetic allows people to just experience it, etc., etc. So, like, big time drawn comparisons to the Superman movie to kind of show that it's different and all of that. Now, they go on in this article and they say, yes, Feige knows Marvel made too many movies and shows and other things they did wrong. And look, here's a statistic, right? From the first Iron Man all the way to Endgame, Marvel produced 50 hours of screen storytelling. In the 6 years since, that number jumped to an astounding 102 hours of movies and television, 127 hours if you include animation. That's too much, Feige said, okay? Now, he gets into explaining that at this time, there was experimentation, evolution, and unfortunately, expansion. And he blames the expansion on devaluing what was going on. Okay, so really interesting things drawn here, okay? He talks about how there was a company push, but he also reveals that people at Marvel Studios were eager to do all of these things. So there was this mandate, but Marvel also felt like they couldn't lose and that they had an entire catalog of fresh things that people would love, okay? This is kind of similar to that Marvel Rivals energy, right? A lot of, like, Marvel Rivals, they have infinite characters, and it feels like they're just going to keep making characters for the game to try to keep content out there, right? And I'm sure the Rivals team has a ton of stuff they want to do in that game. This is interesting because it's Kevin kind of admitting, like, yeah, we made way too much. There was a company mandate, but also we played a role here because we were so eager to do all of that sort of stuff that we embellished, we went hard, and it just became way too much. I think that's like a nice little thing to admit here. Now, here's another thing that's wild, right? He gets into Thunderbolts and why it failed despite being a very, very good movie. I'm so glad they're out here admitting this. You know, if you guys will recall, I love Thunderbolts, but the first Monday after Thunderbolts came out, I basically came out and said, this is a fucking disaster. And I got so much pushback. A bunch of people in Hollywood that got butthurt and were like, actually, the industry's just changing. We can accept losing $100 million on the movie that we just told people and investors is a sign of our new changed whatever, right? And I was like, this is not good. I'm so glad they came out there and kind of held the L with Thunderbolts, because it would have looked so silly for them to be like, yo, this is great. This is exactly what we want. Everything's running, of course, totally. No. And in fact, there's several moments in this article where Feige talks about making big movies. He doesn't want to do this like little thing where we make it manageable. He wants to make big movies for a ton of people. That's the whole Marvel idea. That's what he wants to do, okay? Now, he draws a conclusion to the homework element to this film. And he also draws it to the Marvels, which is kind of interesting. But he says that, like, Thunderbolts featured all kind of characters that were seen on various platforms, including some only appearing on shows before the big screen. Some of them were still feeling that residual effect, the notion of, I guess I had to see these characters in other shows to understand who this is, Feige explained. I think if you actually saw the movie, that wouldn't be the case. And we make the movies so that that's not the case. But I think we still have to make sure the audience understands that. Okay. So this is interesting, dude. Like, this is a really interesting take here. He's saying on the one hand, because I kind of think there's a little bit of, I think he's actually talking outside of both sides of his mouth a little bit here. But it's a fine way to sort of couch the narrative. But let's explore it a little bit more. So first of all, he praises Superman. He says it's not superhero fatigue. Superman's crushing. Then he says Fantastic Four is great, just like Superman. No homework required. Okay? He's talking about how it's this lived and breathed in world. But then he's saying that, like, we just made way too much. We over-embellished. That became homework and fatigued the audience. That became associated with Thunderbolts. That's why it underperformed. Okay? But I was thinking about this, and I wonder what you guys think. I think there's a difference between, like, further exploring something or, like, nerding out on something and homework. Okay? Like, there's this thing that people say sometimes where they say, if you find the thing you love, you'll never work a day in your life. I think a more modern version of that is, like, if you can find the work that feels like play, you're going to be able to outwork everybody. Okay? And this is sort of a nuanced thing to explain. But I was thinking about this because Superman introduces this DCU. Since Superman came out, I have watched a lot more animated DC. I have read more DC comics. I am exploring DC. Now, you could call that homework. If it felt like homework, I probably wouldn't keep doing it. It would fatigue me. I'd get, like, butthurt. I wouldn't be down. Okay? Something happened with Marvel where it became homework. And it's actually like, I just hope that they're understanding that they took something that was a benefit and they turned it into a liability. Because it wasn't always like this. I think part of the reason it ends up feeling like homework is because we didn't have that same love, that draw, the enthusiasm, the interest that we had when the Marvel Cinematic Universe was first popping off. And definitely not the same way that DC is hitting right now. Like, DC, the establishing of the DCU is interesting. You want to explore it. You want to explore DC. You want to formulate these ideas. It doesn't feel like homework. Marvel turned something like that into feeling like homework. And I think part of it was, like, just way too much. But there's an element here of them going away from stuff that the majority of the fan base found exciting. And that is a part of why it ended up feeling like homework, okay? So either way, look, you have Feige coming out here kind of holding the L with Thunderbolts. This speaks to their view and their attitude on the genre, on fatigue. And I think you can sort of read between the lines here and think, oh, they're going to go bigger with bigger franchises. This also mirrors what Jeff Snyder and Daniel RPK have recently reported. That's that the shows, the Disney Plus shows, are no longer going to be the driving force of the narrative for Marvel. And that's good, because you can't have that. That's definitely feeling too much like homework, right? So you need that to exist in its own way. But that's literally just the start of this crazy fucking article. And I want to stop for a second here. Do you guys have any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns? This is just the beginning, but I think it's actually an important point because it speaks to this conversation we've been having. Like, what's going on with Marvel? Why is it like this? Like, what made the fall off happen? What's the difference between what DC is doing now and what Marvel is doing now. What do you think? I want interconnected, but there's a line, bro. Don't straw man me. Yeah, I think there's a line. I think there's a line for sure. I think there's also like think of it like this, okay? There's obviously characters that resonate more with fans than other ones, okay? And you'll sometimes get in these situations where a studio or people that are creating stuff, they don't completely understand it. They're not like feeling what the audience is feeling. So if I told you that you had to go watch the 4 episodes in the final arc of the Clone Wars all about the Martinez sisters, you're probably going to feel like that's homework. If I tell you to go watch the last 4 episodes and report back to me like what was going on with Maul and like how did that shake out with Ahsoka and all of that, that's not going to feel like homework. Like, does that make sense to you guys? I think Disney Plus really contributed to the homework problem because they didn't have the event film vibe associated with them. Yeah, I think that's part of it for sure. Yeah. I think if they stuck with connecting stories together with the shows like WandaVision or Loki were the best shows, they all had a greater connection to the overall story. I mean, yeah, that's fair. As messy as Superman is, it at least made a ton of different characters known to the audience and built hype for the new. Marvel hasn't done that in years until Dr. Downey was revealed. Yeah, like the Mr. Terrific thing is a really good point, right? Because it's not like they're like explaining Mr. Terrific. They show, don't tell. And he gets like awesome moments. I think that's why people are liking the character. People don't like the character because we now know that he's as intelligent as Luther and his history with the Justice Society. No, that's not it at all, man. Finto128 says, after 2 weeks of Soups, do we think F4 is going to beat it in the box office? I think combined, they're going to struggle to get to $1 billion. Take my money, nerd vengeance for life. You want to say, yeah, I strongly feel Fantastic Four will make more than Superman. 100%. I have felt that for a while. There is nothing that's making me change my mind. So, yeah, no, I definitely think so. Creation of the watch this to understand this paradigm makes movies feel less is complete movie. We're just looking forward to another film or another television show. Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Could it be Marvel can't afford its main actors' characters? Oh, I highly doubt that, brother. Now, it could be the case that maybe the point you're making is they just don't want to pay those people. Maybe, but they just paid Downey like $100 million for like 2 movies, so I don't really think so, bud. I don't really think so. The crash out, once it makes less, then Superman will be generational. I mean, I look, could that happen? Sure, but that would not just surprise me. Like that would surprise a lot of people in the industry. We'll talk more about Superman's numbers, but Superman actually still has a chance to not even make 600 million. Like I know Luis and some other people have said 600 is locked. I do not see it that way. There are other people that don't see it that way. Like, actually, I watched Movie Math. Grace Randolph is starting to see what I talked about 2 weeks ago. She has changed her tune a lot on the Superman Fantastic Four thing. And I think that's just what you do when new data comes in and you're like, oh, this thing's going to open higher than Superman and almost be guaranteed to have better international and have way less competition. Yeah. I'm still feeling real good on that bet, man. That's a true nerd. Look at everything that Marvel puts on TV so the audience can see to understand. Yes, I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but yes. From this point on, I don't think Marvel will make a $1 billion movie unless it's an Avengers movie. You know what? Maybe. We'll see. I think Lilo and Stitch just became the first $1 billion movie of this year, which is kind of interesting for sure. 100 to 110 million opening is same as last Ant-Man movie. Yeah, so over the weekend, actual Hollywood trades came out and said it's tracking at 130 to 140. You know, which is either 5 million ahead of Superman or 10 million ahead of Superman. We'll see. RJ Brando, appreciate the 10 spot, brother. Says, completely agree. People happily watched 20-plus movies before Infinity War. It wasn't viewed as homework, and normies caught up. Release quality stories, and people will show up. Yeah, and it kind of feels, I mean, there's a lot going on. But, look, the thing I like about this, I like this so much more than what was happening around Thunderbolts. And I get it, right? I think Disney, Feige, Bob Iger, I think they were trying to put their best foot forward, and they wanted Thunderbolts to like tick up massively and get to the good box office. I totally understand that. But when I read that Wall Street Journal thing and they were saying like, oh shit, Feige thinks Thunderbolts is the new represent, I was like, whoa, because it was just not doing well. Right? Now they at least can say, yeah, it didn't perform the way we wanted to. We think we know why, and we have a plan moving forward. I mean, that's probably all you can ask for. And we're going to get into it more because I think there's more to it, but that is an interesting place to start. That's an interesting place to like start. They bring all these people out and they're like, so we know things are like this, but also look at Superman and also look at Fantastic Four. Like, isn't this kind of interesting? Like the timing of all of this is quite interesting to me. I think it's hypocritical to criticize Marvel, who had to deal with the first phase decline after a long run of mega hits. The Chad death and Chapek Kang fiasco hurt them. Yeah, they certainly had to deal with a lot, for sure, man. But that's also just business, right? Like the fact that you are even comparing Superman, which is the first DCU movie, after how terrible the DCU has been, like you can't even compare the two. I'm not sure exactly what you mean there. Well, Thunderbolts is quality. No one showed up. For that argument, you need a few quality movies in a row to create goodwill. I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. My argument is go spectacle, bend whatever you need to, do it every 6 months. I think that is probably what's going to happen. Yeah. Okay, more. There's more. Let's get into it. So let's talk a bit about Kevin Feige's future here. And then we'll get into the Jonathan Major stuff, because there's a lot of craziness with that Jonathan Major stuff, okay? So this part of the article is kind of interesting. It says, Feige is staying put at Marvel for now, okay? No Hollywood executive stays in their chair forever. Whether it's because of a change at the top or bad run of movies, change is inevitable. And succession is a hot topic at Disney and in Hollywood in general. Feige was a bit circumspect on how long he would stay at the company, quietly admitting he has about 2 years, a little less, on his contract. But regardless, he stated his desires to keep making big movies for the widest possible audience. Do I want to be making big movies for big audiences in 10 or 15 years from now? Yes, absolutely. That's all I want to do, Feige said. Marvel's a great way to do that for me right now, but I hope to make big movies for lots of people forever more. Woo! That's kind of interesting. 2 years left on his Marvel contract, a 7-year plan on that whiteboard that they talk about earlier in this article, going all the way to 2032. Big question is, will they re-sign Kevin Feige? Well, I think probably going to be determined by the box office of Fantastic Four, probably going to be determined by the box office of Spider-Man 4, and probably going to be determined by early buzz for Doomsday, all of which will happen before his contract is up. I would assume he's going to get that contract extended. However, you know, there's a lot of questions. I mean, there's questions of succession. There was a different article, I think even last week, where Feige noted that succession is a hot topic at Disney for sure. And this is all with, Bob Iger and that whole thing. There were a lot of questions as to whether or not Feige would move on to something like an Alan Horn, overall in charge of all the movies at Disney proper kind of a role. Seems that he's not interested in that. Seems that he wants to make big movies, and that's where he wants to stay. There's been some talk of maybe like Brad Winderbaum or somebody else like that taking over for Feige, and I can absolutely see that. I don't know that now is the time. I would expect his contract gets extended simply to at least have him under contract as he launches the new X-Men stuff. That's probably smart from Disney's perspective. But I wonder what that extension would look like. And then I wonder what he wants to do next, right? Because there's all sorts of opportunity, of course. Potentially even some stuff with other superhero stuff. There's obviously Warhammer around the corner, and I would not mind Kevin Feige helping Henry make Warhammer into the next big thing. There's all this video game stuff that's happening. And then there's, of course, Star Wars. And if you didn't know, Star Wars is actually Kevin Feige's first love. He absolutely loves Star Wars. His house is full of Star Wars memorabilia. He loved Star Wars before he loved Marvel. And he did have Michael Waldron writing his Star Wars movie. Kathleen Kennedy, who stood in the way of Kevin Feige's Star Wars movie, is on the way out. So that's kind of interesting. Really wonder what this means. You know, just a small part of the article here, but certainly really interesting. What do you guys think of that? All You Can something or other says with a 10 spot. Josh, do you have to admit that James Gunn's DCU does not seem appealing or interesting by what we have seen so far? We need different writers, not James Gunn, to put his spin on everything. I don't know. The first part of your question, I'm not really sure what you're saying there. I give James Gunn a lot of crap. There's a lot of stuff I think he does wrong. He lies all the time, by the way. I don't know if you know this. James Gunn is a big liar, and so it probably won't surprise you that he lied when he talked about Henry Cavill recently. You know, it is what it is. I give him a lot of crap, but at the end of the day, he made a really good Superman movie. I like that Superman movie a lot. He also knows comics really well. So I'm not ready to say, get Gunn out of there. I would love other interpretations, other writers, other directors, but I wouldn't mind another James Gunn DCU movie. You know what I mean? For sure. Real talk. Why does Feige not get the same flack as other great producers get after years and years of failures? I know not everything is his fault. Man, it's very simple. He is the most successful producer in the history of the fucking town. It's like, it's really not that complicated. 10 years, $23 billion, and it's still making money. I mean, yes, it's obviously declined, but like, I don't know if there's another, like, this would be like if Jordan was on the Wizards, which, by the way, wildly enough, you should see the fucking stats Jordan put up when he went to the Wizards. It's fucking crazy. It's like a 40-something-year-old dude. But, yeah, I mean, it's really simple, man. It's scoreboard. Like, just look at the scoreboard. Like, that's what it is. Appreciate you, though. Just today, it was revealed Superman used volume while Gunn said they won't use it. Oh, dude, I mean, he's just such a liar. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about James Gunn and lying. But yeah, he's just like a crazy liar, dude. Crazy. Which part was the lie about Henry Cavill? Oh, we'll get there. I have that in my notes. We still have to go through this whole article, then we'll get into the DC stuff. But I actually have an article right here. Here, I'll just tease it like this, okay? I'll tease it like this. James Gunn would have you believe that this Wall Street Journal article explaining that David Zaslav met with people, including The Rock, about taking over DC, James Gunn would have you believe this did not happen. If you listen to his comments over the weekend, and also, I'll say this, you know for sure that I really like Superman because I didn't tweet about this shit all weekend. So you gotta know that I like Superman a lot. If I'm not tweeting about this shit over the weekend, it's because I fucking love Superman, dude. So, yeah, there you go. All right, should we keep going on this article, though? Should we keep going here? All right, let's get into maybe the juiciest part of this. Hang on. I also got to turn this. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I got to turn this air conditioner off or down. Because look at that. Do you see how it's like, I've looked like Stephen Strange in Infinity War. Does your hair normally move like that? Not usually. Are you, or what does he say? I don't know. Give me 1 second. Are you making your hair move? Are you making your hair move right now? No. Yeah, great story. Move along. Oh, Jesus Christ. Here we go, chat. I'll die making movies, Kevin Feige. I actually did think of that when he said this. I did think of KK, man. I did. Okay. So this one is making some noise. There's some drama with this part of the big Kevin Feige interview. It's all about Jonathan Majors. And interesting couple of bits here. Okay, so I want to break down what's in the article. And then I want to give you some context because this is not exactly what happened. However, a lot of people out there are saying Kevin Feige is lying. Like, I saw Bo DeMeo like have this whole big take, and it's just like, look, I understand where Bo's coming from, but he's wrong. If Bo was right, I would get out here and I would say he's right. Okay? I am so fair. I just got to tell you the truth, and the truth is, like, Bo is misunderstanding what happened. And a lot of you guys are misunderstanding what happened too, okay? So let me explain it. Marvel faced several curveballs in the last few years as it worked on its post-Endgame phases. Yes, there were real-world issues of the pandemic and Hollywood strikes. There was the tragic loss of Black Panther star Chadwick Boseman, and there was an assault conviction of Jonathan Majors, the actor that was playing the villain Kang, seemed to tee up as the next big arch nemesis for years to come. Feige never mentioned Majors by name, instead calling him Kang actor, and at one point, the actor, or just zeroing on Kang as the character. And Feige said Marvel was already preparing to pivot away from Kang before Majors' issue. Now, that's actually really important. He didn't even say dude's name in the article. But let's keep going, and I'll explain what's up. We had started, even before what had happened to the actor happened, we had started to realize that Kang wasn't big enough, wasn't Thanos, and that there was only one character that could be that, because he was that in the comics for decades and decades, said Feige. Because of the Fox acquisition, we finally had it, and it was Doctor Doom. So we had started talking about Doctor Doom even before we officially pivoted from Kang. And in fact, I had started talking with Robert about his audition idea before Ant-Man 3 even came out. It was the long plan that we had to take one of our greatest characters and utilize one of our greatest actors. Okay, so obviously this is wild. I'm sure you have some questions, and I want to explain what was going on, because this is real, but it's also a half truth. Okay, so let me explain it. The reality is this: we know that this is true. The Russos recently revealed that over 2 years ago they had a meeting with Kevin Feige about Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. This was before Quantumania even came out. Okay, now here's the reality of the situation. I know this for a fact because I do this job. I am chronically online. I am watching and reading everything, and I'm trying to do my best to digest it and figure it out. And I know for sure, because there was a huge ass delay in that trial, and there was this huge ass lingering time period where we did not know exactly how Marvel was going to respond. And there's actually a third version of how this all went down that everybody's avoiding, but this is what it is. Basically, Marvel had already decided that they wanted to pivot into something larger, bigger, and more mass appeal for the Secret Wars movie. Okay? They had already started to talk about Evil Iron Man, bringing Tony back, Tony replacing, quote, air quotes, Kang. Okay? Here's the difference, though, and this is what Feige's not revealing. This is what Bo DeMeo's not admitting. This is actually the piece that explains it all. There was a version of this which was not going to be as harsh. There was a version of this where Kang was still going to be involved in Kang Dynasty and in Secret Wars. There was a version of this where they still bring in Doom, but Majors is not convicted, and Majors still is there and plays this huge part in how it's all going to happen. Now, the reason we know that is because the character that Majors originally played, He Who Remains, right? That is going to end up being central to the motivation of Doctor Doom. There was an original version where Doctor Doom was going to pop up in Secret Wars. This was revealed by Alex Perez, by the way. There was an original version where Doom was going to pop up in Secret Wars because Doom had realized that he and the X-Men and several other Marvel concepts were kept out of the sacred timeline by He Who Remains. Remember, He Who Remains, played by Jonathan Majors, was the guy that created the 616. He creates the sacred timeline. He removes Doctor Doom from the timeline. He removes the X-Men from the timeline. This was all going to pop off in Secret Wars. And remember when Jeff Snyder said years ago that his source told him that Doctor Doom was always going to be the villain of Secret Wars, not a villain, the villain of Secret Wars. it is very likely that Doom was going to come in Secret Wars, take over for Kang, become the real threat. Everybody bands together, stops him, resets the universe, and then Doom was also going to persist as a villain in the next saga. Okay? So, there was a version that they were cooking up, and it was years in the making. This version would have allowed Kang to continue to exist, and then, boom, there would be a flip, Doom would come in. I know for a fact that's what it was, okay? However, here's what happened. Majors got convicted. To be honest with you, I heard it actually surprised Disney. From what I heard, Disney actually thought he was not going to be convicted. Once he was, company line, Disney bullshit steps in. They don't even mention the dude's name. So obviously, after the conviction, things change even more. And you got to remember, like, we were covering all of this. We were covering this. We were covering how they're changing the script for the Kang Dynasty. They're changing it. They're changing it. Oh, my God, they're changing it again. Like, don't you remember? I remember because it's my job. So there's this version Marvel was trying to cook where they're pivoting while also letting Majors do his thing. And then Majors gets convicted, and from the tippity top of Disney, they're like, oh, hell nah, pivot, avoid, don't even say dude's name. And I think if you're just a reasonable person, like, that's what it is. It makes the most sense. That's obviously what happened. And all of these people that are getting really butthurt or pretending it's false, fake, or it didn't happen, like, you're just not understanding. You're not paying attention to all of the little bits. You didn't follow through the whole thing. And now you're just listening to what this person is characterizing or what this person is saying. Like, no. Like, I don't know what else to say other than just to say, I have been here following it every step of the way. This is my best understanding of what it is. This understanding, by the way, has evolved. You know what I mean? Because when the Doom thing happened, remember, the only person in the world that had that teased it, was Jeff Snyder. And I couldn't believe that shit was real. Now, within the last 6 months, we had an interview with the Russos. They said 2+ years ago, Feige pitched them on this idea. Do you think they're lying? What incentive do they have to lie? It doesn't make any sense. Of course that's real. Of course it's real. Now, you could feel how you feel about it. You could feel that Majors was done dirty. That's fine. I think, honestly, you know, he was done a little dirty. But I also understand Disney's position. Like, they're just not going to do that. They're just not going to have somebody that's convicted of whatever he was convicted of. I think it was like, what, second assault, second degree assault or some shit like that. Like the version of assault without intent to assault, whatever it was, right? They're literally just not going to make the big leader, marquee villain, that guy. So at this point, when this happens, they're already doing Doom. They already have all this shit rolling. And they then adjust it. Okay, so at this point, right, Majors gets in trouble. They're like, we got to pivot hard. That's when you get the change to Loki season 2, which had already kind of been caked in because, again, they were already pivoting, right? I don't know if you're going to get a recast Kang. There's some debate about that. You might. There's some people saying that you might, and they might be in Doomsday. At the same time, it might be totally done. Like, I think He Who Remains will be referenced for sure. The Kangs will be referenced. I think you almost have to. But what Marvel decided to do was take this thing they wanted to save for Secret Wars, and now they make it the marquee for Doomsday and for Secret Wars. So, of course, there's massive changes. And, of course, they do pivot from him being, like, the Secret Wars surprise to the draw to the whole two-part thing. That's obviously a big change, okay? And I'm not saying they didn't change. But this way that people are characterizing this, where, like, oh, this is not true. They were rocking with Kang, and it was on and on till the break of dawn, and then the conviction happened, and they threw it all out. Not true. I can prove that it's not true. I can prove it. I have the receipts. Marvel was already pivoting away. They accelerated the pivot after the conviction. That's it. Any thoughts? Any questions? Any concerns? Any comments? That's what it is. I'm glad they got rid of Kang. They tried to make him the creator of the Darkhold. That was trash. Yeah, that was trash. Yeah. They have to bring a Kang connect the story. What? Huh? I give you a killer squirrel girl joke and no one even comments? Sorry, Mike. I don't buy Kevin's reasoning. What do you mean? I don't understand. No one was excited for Kang. Yeah, there were a few people that were excited for Kang. You know, honestly, the way he was introduced in Loki, I thought was really cool. But it's actually more how that broke open the concept of the multiverse than it was the character of Kang himself. You could almost replace Kang with like any character there and it would have worked just fine. It was ultimately the right move because it was later confirmed at the end of the year that he intentionally assaulted her at a separate occasion. Yeah, I mean that is out there. I don't really know the details of it, but that is out there. RDJ had drug and weapons charges, and he's running the MCU, bro. So it's sort of cappuccino to say that matters. I don't know what you mean by the cappuccino comment. Look, I'm telling you what it is. You know, like you don't have to like it. And hypocrisy, by the way, there's no shortage of hypocrisy. People love to do this thing where they're like, actually, that's hypocritical, and therefore it doesn't matter. Like, no, hypocrisy is just ever fucking present. I'm telling you what happened. I'm telling you the motivations and the reasons. You know what I mean? I'd love to see Jonathan Majors come back. Maybe not for Kang, but just overall. Yeah, it would be great. I mean, I don't have anything against the dude. I think he can work his way back as Robert Downey Jr. did. Yeah, redemption is cool. Kang is buns. Yeah, I don't really like Kang. You know, I think he's kind of lame. Thoughts on the comments Feige made on recasting Tony Stark and Steve Rogers? Oh, don't worry. It's in my notes, man. It's in my notes, okay? We got more to get into. I'm just trying. We're taking our time here. You know, we're going through it. As someone who hasn't much knowledge on the X-Men after the reboot, what villain do you want Marvel to explore that are Thanos level? I think they're going to do Apocalypse. I think Apocalypse is going to be the big bad. We'll see. This discredits Alex P. He said no Doom for at least 3 phases in February 2023. So are you... Man, things obviously changed. He was going to be introduced in Secret Wars, and then he was going to be the villain of the next phase. Alex has talked about that. You know? Star Wars Benjamin says, get that Kang out of my face, man. Get that Kang out of my face. Take my money, Nerd Vengers for Life units. Hey, much love. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. I got that tickle in my nose, man. I got that tickle in my nose, bruh. Uh-oh. Oh, shit. Hang on. Uh-oh, it's bubbling up. Eyes are watering. Wait. We did it. We did it. Couldn't have done it without you guys. Justin Yell says, Thanos is still the anchor being. Just kidding. Work's been crazy for what seems like forever now, but join when I can. Much love. 3 amigos. Nerd Vengers for Life. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Kang foul. So they were like, nah, let's get rid of him. Am I mad at this? I'm not mad at this. Hey, I mean, you know, I think you can feel how you feel, man. Like, it's all good. I'm trying to do as best I can the straight reporting. You know what I mean? Like, let's be real. Like, Feige is, I mean, he's really good. He's really media trained. He knows how to control a narrative. He knows how to say what he needs to say. I respect the dude. I admire the dude. But I'm also going to tell you the truth. If the truth was something different here, I would say it. If Bo was right, I would say it. He's just not. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to tell you what happened. You know? And we can disagree on, like, should they have done it? Was that the move? Etc. I'm telling you what happened, bro. Hassem says they have to address what happened to the Council of Kangs in Doomsday. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they have to. They have to address He Who Remains' role in causing all of these incursions, keeping the loop going, and keeping people like Doom like less powerful. That is important to the story. I don't know if the Council of Kangs is. F4 going to change everything? I mean, F4 looks to be pretty good. F4 looks to be pretty good. Per Kang, it's like everyone forgot Jonas' book. I don't know what that means, bro. What did Bo say exactly? So I don't know exactly what Bo said, but the characterization that he had of this was that this is a lie and a PR spin, and that they were absolutely planning Kang like the whole way through, and then they just changed their mind to Doom, and he's lying about that. Like, that's the impression I got from Bo's comments were like, oh, they're lying. They were planning Kang. He got convicted. They panicked, and they switched to RDJ. I'm dead ass telling you, that's not what happened. That is not what happened. You can believe what you want, but I report what I think is true. And I'm telling you, that shit ain't true. You know what I mean? Yeah. Look, Bo might be angry. He has every right to be angry. You know, like, what happened to him is crazy. It's crazy. We don't know the full details. But that doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. If he was right, he could be angry and right. He's angry and wrong. Here, that's more to the point. Does that make sense? All right. Any other things on this, or should we move on? Any other bits here? You want to talk about Kang? You want to talk about Jonathan Majors? What else? What else you want to talk about? What else is going on? Move along. Bring Kang back just to kill him. Okay. What is the box office of Superman as of now? I think it's a little over 400, something like that. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the box office in a little bit here. Okay. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. So, we got to talk about diversity, okay? I wonder if it's actually in here. Let's see here. Man, it's not in the THR article, but I know it's in the Deadline one. Interesting that they don't have it in here, but that's okay, because I read all the articles, so I can talk about it, okay? Okay. Sorry, I'm scrolling like crazy. You guys are probably like, what the fuck? Okay, so Kevin Feige gets asked about diversity, and he has this interesting quote where he said, let me see if I can pull it up for you, but he says something like, before woke and DEI was a thing, I said that we just want Marvel to represent what is out there when you look out your window, okay? So here's the exact quote. I'll pull this up for you guys. Kevin Feige responds to complaints about woke or DEI in the MCU. I said this before woke and DEI became a thing, and I'm still saying it after. Marvel is the world outside your window. It's not Gotham City or Metropolis. This is New York and LA. And yes, there's also Wakanda and Asgard, but it is all made up by the people who make up our world. So that's kind of like his line on diversity. He also has some interesting comments about Miles Morales. So let me hang on now, because I like the statement, right? Like, I like the statement. It's not smart to necessarily wade into those waters, try to make a distinction. You know, nuance can be completely misunderstood on the internet. Trust me, I know. So I like the answer. However, it's not true. Okay, it obfuscates the fact that there was clearly a change over the last 4 to 5 years at Marvel And I've heard a lot of people talk about this, like Grace is talking about this. People jump down her throat about it. I've heard Chris Gore make this point. People get so butthurt when he makes this point. But it's really as simple as Marvel and Star Wars, male-dominated brands. Disney, way more female-dominated. Not like females completely dominate the Disney space, but think about it. Disney princesses, going to the parks, all that kind of merchandise. Disney does really well with female consumers. It is as simple as Disney, the corporation, acquiring these male-centric brands and then saying, how can we take our female-centric Disney audience and convert them more to these other brands? Well, we obviously need to lean more in to female characters, to female empowerment, to female stories, to the female perspective, to being female-centric. So even though Kevin's like, hey, man, we're just making movies in the real world. Look outside your window. There's all sorts of folks. That's all we've ever done. Good answer. Not really what happened. What happened was a clear corporate mandated change, a quota, the pendulum swinging way too far in one direction. And I think this has clearly had a negative effect on Marvel. You know, you might hate the MCU phrase. You might hate it when people say that. Bro, there's so many examples in the past 4 to 5 years of why people say that. I can't even get mad at people for saying it anymore. Like, they literally did it to themselves. I also think they are quietly changing this behind the scenes. Okay? So Kevin's going to say, hey, man, I just look out a window and I see folks, man. And that's what we got in the MCU is just folks, man. You know, he could say that all he wants. He's quietly adjusting behind the scenes. They are going back to a more male-centric audience. You don't have to take my word for it. Watch what happens in the next 2 to 3 years of these films. Just watch what happens. I'm telling you. Now, at the same time, does that mean they're going to completely abandon some of these characters, some of these initiatives, the idea of diversity? Absolutely not. That's not what's going to happen either. So that's kind of an interesting little thing he says there. I wonder what you think about that. But that actually takes us into a discussion about Miles Morales. Miles Morales, obviously, Spider-Man, he's Puerto Rican and black. Couple of diversity demos there. And so what is going to happen with Miles Morales? So if we look at this article, it says, don't expect a live-action Miles Morales anytime soon. Thanks a lot, Sony. Many fans have been, for years, clamoring for a live-action MCU appearance of Miles Morales, the Spider-Man who headlines the acclaimed Spider-Verse movies for Sony Animation. When asked where Marvel was in development of live-action version of the characters, Feige responded, that is nowhere, and added that Miles' fate was in Sony's hands. Sony has their brilliant, genius, incredible Spider-Verse animated franchises going, and until that finishes, we've been told to stay away, said Feige. Wow, now that's kind of wild. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean it's over for MCU Miles? Not necessarily. It more means that until that franchise, which that movie, the third movie, just got delayed again. I think it was only by a couple of weeks, but still, like, not good news over there, right? Until Sony's done with that, they've been told to stay away. Now, a couple of interesting things here, right? It's like, okay, so Sony's doing that, fair, but is Sony going to then do live action Miles after that? Kind of seems like that could be what's going on, right? Where Sony's like, you know, stay away. We don't want Miles over there because we don't want it to take away this. But then it could also translate into Sony just doing Miles as their character. They have big, successful animated franchise. Maybe they just bring him into live action. However, there are some signs out there that Sony's willing to maybe sell Spider-Man back to Marvel or let Marvel take more of the reins moving forward. I don't know, man. I guess the main answer here is, like, until the animated series finishes up, don't expect Miles Morales. A little bit of a bummer there. At the same time, look, they have to get their house in order. They have to figure some other stuff out. And honestly, if you're resetting all the MCU timelines, we need more Peter Parker. Like, I'm not really ready for Miles. If we're just getting the X-Men, we're just getting the Fantastic Four. Like, I want Peter and Johnny Storm to have a relationship. I want Peter to join the Fantastic Four. I want Peter to have experiences with the X-Men. Like, there's still a lot more juice here with Peter Parker. Okay? So I think you're probably looking at a situation where Miles is definitely still on that whiteboard, There's a question to whether or not he will be in Sony stuff or Marvel stuff moving forward, but not anytime soon, likely because of the delays to the animated stuff. That's kind of interesting, right? And again, in line with that whole conversation about wokeness, DEI, all of that sort of stuff, that's also interesting. So I don't know. I guess I wonder if you have any thoughts about that. It's obviously something that I think a group really, really cares about. I think quality helps and will make this conversation go away. If it was quality and they were winning, I think this conversation dies down a bit. As long as the quality is shaky and the box office performances are lower, you're going to get this whole crowd saying it's because of diversity, wokeness, etc. So interesting stuff at this big time when Marvel's looking at the future to make these comments like this. I'm pretty curious. What do you make of these comments? Do you appreciate them? Do you think they're disingenuous? What do you think about Miles? Like, I'm pretty curious, man. I'm pretty curious as to what you guys make of this situation here. Oh my God, I just went back to the chat and it's like going crazy scrolling. If Spider-Noir pops off, we might get more on that platform. That's a good point. Sony's desperately trying to get some stuff to work with Spider-Man, and if they get that to work with the Amazon show, I can see them doubling, tripling down on that. They've dug such a big hole that it's going to be a tall task to bring back Infinity War Endgame hype box office levels. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. Yeah. We need a whiteboard stream about the whiteboard. Oh, totally. I agree. 100%. I think that's the way to go. Give me Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099 first. Well, you know, the fact that we're doing Spider-Noir kind of opens up the door for maybe Miguel with one of those shows. Like, oh, that would be sick, dude. Like, that could absolutely work, yeah. Are you down to pick the draft order for the Nerd Avengers Fantasy Football League? Hell yeah, Philip. Send me the list, man. Send me the list. And then just keep reminding me as I continuously forget. We really don't need Miles because they essentially made Peter White Miles. What? Yeah, I don't need any other Spider people in the MCU. Just a lot. I want to see Peter first. Yeah, I think there's a. I mean, that's why Spider-Man fans are really excited for street level Spider-Man, right? Like that's kind of why. Is like there's still so much we haven't explored with Peter. I think a lot of folks just want more Peter Parker stories. You know, like maybe the time is just, maybe it's just not the right time. Miles could be Sony's redemption. That is true as well. They could absolutely do some good stuff with Miles. They're clearly doing good stuff in the animation. So, yeah. Yeah. I honestly forgot about Spider-Noir. He's pretty cool, too. He is cool, man. I'm excited for that show, dude. I'm excited for that show. I think that shit's going to be good. I think that shit is going to be good, chat. It looks great. We've seen a lot of the leaked set photos and videos and whatnot, man. I'm telling you, they're cooked. They cooked. Hey, Josh, were you taking Tuesday and Wednesday off? You said a couple of months ago you streamed San Diego Comic-Con coverage. You still be doing that? Expect Spider-Man 4 in DC News. No stream this weekend, but Monday stream. So next Monday, because yes, so Comic-Con happens this weekend. There's no Hall H panels, but there's a lot of stuff going on. What I'm going to do is I'll keep an eye on it. And then Monday, next Monday, a week from now, we'll break it all down. We'll be talking about Fantastic Four's opening box office, and we'll break down all the Comic-Con stuff, which I do expect to be ample for sure. I think they're holding off on Miles because the animated version might cross over to the MCU as a cameo. That's also possible, yeah. The company line, Kevin is saying, we've been told to stay away until that trilogy is done. I think that's appropriate. Like, that makes sense to me. Is Spider-Man Noir Peter Parker or old gumshoe with powers, or is that somebody else? So, actually, his name in that show is Ben Parker. Ben. So, or Ben Reilly, I think, maybe they. Is he Ben Reilly? That's the big question. Is he a clone? What is the deal with that? I don't know. Will we ever get a proper black suit Spider-Man? I think so. I think in the next couple of years, you're going to get it. Yeah. Okay, so look, there you have it, guys. Kevin Feige's comments on wokeness, DEI, how that's changing. My sort of take on the truth of the situation, and then some stuff about Miles Morales. Kind of interesting there. Let's move along, huh? No SDC stream. Yeah, there's no Hall H presentation. So Marvel's not going to be there. DC's not going to be there. Normally, there's a huge Marvel presentation on Saturday night. It's usually the biggest stream of the year. It's our biggest stream. It's the most hyped up, exciting thing. They're literally not doing it this year. So we're just going to talk about stuff on Monday. That's how it is. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit of a bummer. I hope they bring it back or they start cooking somewhere else because I love those streams, man. Very fun. Yes, DC is there for Peacemaker. Fair. Mm-hmm. Okay. Shall we keep going here, chat? So there's some stuff with Blade here. They're still making Blade. Coogler's still making Black Panther 3. They talk about like tonally, R-rated stuff, some more R-rated stuff, which is kind of interesting. But this one here, man. This one I think is going to be very interesting to you guys. Feige still likes the flexibility of going into production without a set script. Now, there's going to be a distinction here between a completed script and a set script. Now, one of the reasons I'm fascinated by this is because James Gunn is out here flapping his gums. And I told you guys over and over again, I really do not like this thing he's trying to do with the script thing. Like, Gunn keeps being like, we need a completed script. The thing that's killing Hollywood is no completed scripts, all this sort of stuff. I told you guys that is so disingenuous. Feige hires James Gunn and has a spec script. Without the Marvel process, James doesn't even get the job, and then he doesn't get to go make a draft of the spec script. Right? So I've tried to make this point before. It's really, really weird. Here's the first time that Kevin is actually addressing this. Okay? So he says, the Marvel method of movie, or rather, this is the article. It says, the Marvel method of movie making has included ever-evolving scripts and heavy lifting in post-production. Striking a contrarian position, Gunn, after working at Marvel, has publicly stated that his DC Studios won't begin a project without a locked script and a definite ending. Feige says Marvel has never started a movie without a full script, but also added that he's never been satisfied with the script the company has had. I've never been satisfied with a movie we've released. He's even added on top of that. What he and the company like to do is plussing at every turn. There's plussing happening every day on Avengers Doomsday sets right now, and it is amazing to watch because of those filmmakers, those actors, both the ones that are playing these characters for the first or second time, and one playing them for the 10th or 12th time, are the best in the world at it, and know these characters so well, said Feige. So if they have an idea, this is very important, if they have an idea, you want to listen to it, and you want to adjust to it, and you want to improve it. I wouldn't want to change that. Steve McFeely is writing the script, but Feige revealed that Loki creator Michael Waldron is also helping. Okay, so let's stop there for a second, okay? Now, Feige is playing a little bit of word games here, so I want to break it down. He is saying that they have a full script, meaning it has a first act, a second act, and a third act, okay? But he is differentiating that from a finished script, meaning this is the finished script. We will shoot this. And what's weird is, again, Gunn making this a thing feels so weird. Remember when the Hollywood writers were on strike? Do you guys recall this? I believe it just happened. It was either last year or the year before that. Massive Hollywood strike. I think it was the year before that. Do you remember this? Do you remember how many different movies shut down their shooting because of the writer's strike? Do you remember this? I think you should remember this because I remember a whole bunch of people being confused by this. Even Deadpool and Wolverine had to stop filming because of a writer's strike. Why did this happen? Well, it's because it doesn't matter how finished a script is. You will make adjustments to it as you're making the movie. So without the writer there to codify the changes to the script via the guild rules, you cannot make those changes because there's a strike. Is what I'm saying making sense? Do the words that just fell out of my mouth parts, have they hit your ears? Are they in your brain? Do you understand what I am saying? Everybody understand what I'm saying? Okay, now, traditionally, Marvel has done this to a much larger degree than most other Hollywood productions. Marvel and the Marvel method has started to schedule reshoots without even knowing what you will reshoot. Okay? Marvel is constantly reworking their scripts. By the way, James Gunn just did a bunch of reworking on his film as well. They bring in literally another editor. They bring in a second person to work on the score in the middle of this stuff. And all the people out there, because there were reports that like, oh, they're doing all this work. Gunn doesn't shoot reshoots. They're doing reshoots. What's going on? A lot of the people that were being kind to James were saying, this is all completely normal movie stuff. And so for him to turn around after all that goodwill, all that grace is given to him because we understand the filmmaking process, and for him to turn around and try to make it a thing and say, this is actually what's destroying Hollywood. I do it differently than anybody else, and everybody else that does it is fucking it up, is so disingenuous. It's not true. Right? And so I'm fascinated by Feige because it does seem like Gunn, and I wonder how much of this is going to like, because look, at the end of the day, we're very happy that DC and Marvel are both seemingly operating better and things are turning around for both of them. But let's not get it twisted. They are in stark competition with each other. We're about to talk about, Fantastic Four, Superman box office. There's no way you can honestly cover this without saying this is crazy competition. 2 weeks after your movie, a big Marvel movie's coming out. This is crazy. And this is going to keep happening. They are in direct competition now for years and years to come. And so Gunn getting out there and making this thing about the scripts and Marvel, it felt really weird to me. I was like, I don't even understand it. Like, this guy grew up in this system. He wouldn't even have a career without Kevin Feige. Like, what the fuck's, like, what is this, right? Well, what it is trying to play this game of, like, we're going to be different. You know how Marvel fell off? Here's why they fell off, and we're going to do different. And that's fine. But if you want to be educated, if you want to know the truth, you should know that's actually not what is happening. Number one, they're not even going to be different. Number two, Marvel took what was already being done in Hollywood and adjusted it to better fit the system that they wanted, and they grossed $23 billion in 10 years and literally saved Hollywood as the industry was changing. Okay? So if you want to know, like, the truth, like, that's the truth. Okay? And I'm fascinated to see how they will continue to talk about this. I think it's interesting that Feige's even saying stuff like plussing. He's using this terminology of like, oh, we have a full script. It's just not a set script to try to like differentiate what Gunn is saying. Like, this is actually like they ran this through media training. Like, they literally looked at what Gunn was saying, and they had a PR company or a media person come up with ways to address it, to diffuse the argument. That's pretty wild. So this could be the beginning of some actual conflict, some actual heated tension between these two studios. And frankly, like, I'm here for it. I like it, man. I like when somebody has a chip on their shoulder. I think competition is great. And so that's dope as hell. Now, one other small thing that's going on here, right? Because he dresses Michael Waldron coming back to work on this thing, okay? By the way, chat, how are you feeling about Michael Waldron? Just out of curiosity, are you positive on it? Are you negative on it? Put it into the chat. I'm really curious. So Steve McFeely, not Marcus, just McFeely, is writing this script, and his writing partner did not join him. The one that did all the other Marvel movies with him, it's just Stephen McFeely on this. Okay, and this is a hell of a task, man, because this is a film that was Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty. At one point was like Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty, but also maybe leading to Doom, and then it was like, nope, Doomsday. So McFeely definitely has his work cut out for him. As we've said before, Marvel, what do they say? Marvel keeps plussing the movie. And although they had a full script, it's not a set script, right? We'll start to use the right terminology. The point is, it's a motherfucker of a movie, dude. This has got to be a motherfucker of a thing to write, okay? So they're bringing on Loki creator Michael Waldron to help. And I got to say, I love it, man. I had this reaction when I heard this where I was like, am I getting everything I want? Because classically, I really like Multiverse Madness. A lot of you guys did not like it. Fair. I think Michael Waldron is a genius. I've read a lot of his scripts. Okay, so I tweeted about this earlier, but I went looking for his Star Wars script over a year ago. I talked to some very serious people, some very connected people. I ended up reading several of Michael Waldron's scripts, including a spec script for a movie called, I think it was called The Worst Guy Ever or something like that, which was like this blacklisted weird script that like Feige read and loved and like that helped to get him the job or whatever. The point is, I read a lot of Michael Waldron stuff. This dude is on another level. He is an incredible writer. And, you know, sometimes people will say, oh, well, if he's so incredible, what happened with Multiverse of Madness? Guys, we know what happened with Multiverse of Madness. He wrote 17 different drafts. The movie was constantly changing. Elizabeth Olsen said after draft 16, she stopped reading it. She would just read her scenes when she was called to set. Okay? Like, we know what happened to Multiverse of Madness. It was a fucking mess, dude. Right? So, what is going on with Michael Waldron? Well, Waldron, number one, he totally knows the canon. He was literally writing Secret Wars. Okay? He was helping Kang Dynasty, and he was working on Secret Wars. He's a workhorse. He's talented. He knows the system. He knows the lore. He knows the characters. He's a good collaborator. Remember, Kevin Feige had Michael Waldron writing his Star Wars movie. And Kevin Feige loves Star Wars. It's his first love, as I've mentioned many times. So the fact that Michael Waldron is back on this thing, like I know a lot of you are like, I don't like it. No, hey, you can have your opinion. I love it. And I want to explain why I love it. And that's because I think this dude is seriously talented. And I think the combination of McFeely, Waldron, and the Russo brothers, that's making me very excited. And here's the other thing to take it back to what James Gunn is trying to say. Yeah, there's no way that Michael Waldron just came on and they have a set script. They're plussing. James, don't you remember plussing? Hello? They're just plussing. And I, for one, am pretty excited that they're plussing to the degree that they are plussing. So there you have it. Let me know what you think about all of that. What do you make of it? Zach says, what up, my nerdy fam? Hope you had a great weekend, Josh. I'll watch this after work. Much love, everybody. No Revenge for life. Hey, appreciate you, man. Thank you. I have a bunch of plus coming out of things on my back. Totally. Waldron knows timelines and multiverse. True. True. LOL, 17 drafts and you're defending Feige? Well, first, yeah. Look, I don't understand. I mean, I know it's like the internet thing and we're like, insert thing that feels like dunking. Ha, 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 emote. But that's like, I'm 13 and things are so deep energy of like a subredditor, bro. Like it's not cool. It's not novel. You're not special. Like, I mean, I understand the sentiment, but yeah, I'm talking about the greatest producer in the history of Hollywood and a movie that I liked. Like, come on, man. 17 drafts, $30 billion. You're still on that Feige, huh? Yeah, brother. I think I am. 17 drafts, dude. All those billions don't matter because of the 17 drafts. What? Think of the forest. Think about how many trees he killed. Watch those wrist rockets says, did you hear about Ultimate Endgame in the Marvel Comics thing? Yeah. I heard about it. It's interesting. Interesting for sure. We have not seen enough misses and failures from this method to warrant proper criticism. Well, that's an opinion. You can have that opinion. For sure. But your opinion doesn't become my reality. Scott Derrickson's script was way better. We were going to get Nightmare. Yeah, I mean, Nightmare would have been cool. I think Scott Derrickson is brilliant, man. Truly. But, you know, he was burnt out. He went another way, and that's good. Like, you would hate for somebody to stay a little longer than they wanted and put out some real dog shit. So I'm glad he moved on and did his own thing, for sure. What a time to jump into the stream. What do you mean? Did I yell at somebody? What do you mean? I feel like I'm being good today. I feel like I'm being really good. I haven't really gotten too snarky. You know? No, I've been painting minis. I don't paint my nails. I paint my Warhammer minis. You know? Slightly more masculine, depending on who you ask. Waldron is good, man. He's a good storyteller, but I noticed he's very good in keeping dialogues very interesting. Yeah. I just think the dude's incredibly talented. Like, incredibly talented. Josh, do a backflip. Okay, ready? I did it. It was just so fast you missed it. He's trying so hard, he's getting the shakes. Me? Hell yeah, dude. Dealing with this chat, I get the shakes like you wouldn't fucking believe. Waldron for Warhammer? Yeah, dude, dead ass. I think the dude's so talented. I'd put him on anything. I'd put him on anything. I like the dude. I'm out of coffee. Hey, what do we think about a bathroom break and another cup of coffee? Did I mention I'm taking the whole week off after today? We're going to have to talk about Fantastic Four next week. I'm really tired. And I have a lot of Warhammer to paint. Is Waldron still attached to Secret Wars? Bad idea. Oh, yeah, no, definitely. Bad idea. They better not bring him back, bro. Did you cover the Doomsday League? It's fake. It's fake league. Boo, Warhammer. I haven't even started, Justin. And I'm going to... you just wait, Justin. You just wait. Where's Wanda in Strange? I don't know. Just remember to cut the mic. I'm going to be so wild when Justin does a 180 on Warhammer. I'll be leaving the stream early. Yo, Justin is... I mean, yeah, he does seem like really against Warhammer, which is like... I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. But, I mean, it's the best, you know? Warhammer's the best. And don't worry, because I'm cooking some videos for the Warhammer channel that are like designed to convert you. Like, you're going to put on one of these videos, you're going to be ordering minis by the end of the video. That's a goddamn guarantee. Although I probably shouldn't say that. Chem Brick says, I got an idea for origins for Justice Gang members. Batman is doing research recon on the members before joining. His research is their origin. Ooh, I like that. Ew, I like that. Did you guys see the thing with the Jimmy Olsen show? Because we might be getting some shit like that with DC, actually. I feel like Justin should read about the salamanders. They have the most hope, and that's what he's looking for. Yeah, for sure. I think I would say he'd probably be at home with, like, salamanders or the White Scars. Maybe the Ultramarines, too. They're all a little bit more... you know, nice and hopeful and shit. Yeah, no. Man, the MCU just not missing. Let's go. Well, I don't know about all that. I mean, you know, I feel like the crazy MCU glazing also doesn't help us, you know? Like, you know, I love Marvel for sure. I think Kevin Feige is really successful. But, like, I'm not making that up or trying to, like, gas him up. Like, he is literally by numbers the most successful. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like we need a little bit of reality, like a little bit of reality, you know? Yeah. Jimmy Olsen show focused on the stories of side heroes. Yeah. We'll talk about it. It's pretty cool. Getting villain stories by Jimmy Olsen. Yeah, man, I think it could work. What Warhammer faction would be best for me? Hard to say. What are some of your favorite characters in Marvel, DC, or just like fiction, man? Like, if you tell me some of your favorite characters or like what you like about your fiction, I could help that way. Yeah. Okay, we got to talk about the X-Men and the recasting for the reboot. This is some juicy fucking shit, boyos. But also, I got to pee and get more coffee. So, hang on. Hang on now. I'll be right back now. Did everybody leave? Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Okay. Okay, let's talk about maybe the most shocking and exciting to me reveals from all the Kevin Feige interviews. Okay, so we're over on Variety here. It says Marvel plans to recast the X-Men and eventually Tony Stark after Avengers Secret Wars, but reboot is a scary word, says Kevin Feige. So scary. The all-new X-Men are coming to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and an all-new Tony Stark will eventually join them? Holy shit, that's a crazy first line. Oh my God. In a wide-ranging conversation with the press on Friday, Marvel Studios chief Kevin Feige confirmed that following the events of 2027's Avengers Secret Wars, the company will recast the superpowered mutants for its upcoming X-Men movie directed by Jake Schreier, who did Thunderbolts. Many of the actors who starred in the X-Men movies in the 2000s to 2010s are reprising their roles in 2026's Avengers Doomsday, including Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Alan Cumming, Rebecca Romijn, James Madsen, and Kelsey Grammer. Stewart is also Charles Xavier in 2022's Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, and Grammer appeared as Hank McCoy in the post-credit scenes of 2023's The Marvels. In future films, however, X-Men characters who appeared in the previous movies will be played by new actors, along with mutants making the big screen debut. The decision echoes changes in the composition of Marvel Comics following the 2015 Secret Wars storyline, which involved multiple timelines collapsing and reconverging, mixing up the characters of the main Marvel timeline in the process. We're utilizing that story not just to round out the stories we've been telling post Endgame, just as importantly, and you can look at the Secret Wars comics for where that takes you. It's very, very much sets up the future, Feige said. Endgame literally was about endings. Secret Wars is about beginnings. But Feige was also careful not to categorize the changes as reboot. So scary. Instead, the executive said Secret Wars will serve as a reset for the MCU. Reboot is a scary word, he said. Reboot can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Reset, singular timeline. We're thinking along those lines. Later, he added, X-Men is where that will happen next. Feige noted that the X-Men comics, with their focus on Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, naturally centered on stories about adolescent characters. They have been a place to tell stories about young people who feel differently or who feel other and who feel like they don't belong, he said. That's the universal story of mutants, and that is where we're going. Good point. Even more intriguingly, Feige also includes that other Marvel characters will eventually be recast, including its most iconic roles like Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. He pointed to many of the other major film franchises that have done the same thing multiple times over, saying Amy Pascal and David Heyman are now searching for a new James Bond, Feige said, referring to the producers of Amazon MGM's upcoming Bond film. David Corenswet, the new Superman, he was awesome. That will always be the case. Feige acknowledged that stars who have retired their original MCU roles, like Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, have made it difficult to imagine anybody else in their role or in their character's shoes, but it isn't an impossible task. I think it's hard for anybody to do that when an actor has done such a great role, he said. How are they going to ever replace Sean Connery as James Bond, right? At least two legacy actors may still appear in the MCU as well. Asked about his plans for a follow-up to Marvel's Deadpool and Wolverine, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, Feige in typical fashion made no definitive statements, but also did not close off any possibilities. I think there is more fun to be had with both of those characters, he said, but we'll see. So, wah, wah, wee, wah, 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 wee, wah. This is big fucking news, ladies and gentlemen, and I think a pretty big change to what Feige has been saying over the past, 3 to 4 years, going back more to that 4 to 5 year time period of when Endgame was first ending and all that, okay? So, a couple of things that we need to say. Number one, clearly mentions X-Men new cast. Now, you might say, we already knew that, and we kind of do. There have been a lot of casting reports via Jeff Snyder, and pretty much everybody he says is going to be an X-Men is being cast, and Spider-Man is a totally different character. But point is, definitely a lot of buzz around younger actors being cast for the X-Men. However, there were also reports that Hugh Jackman was sticking around for 5 to 10 more years. That also appears to be true. So, what is the deal? Well, it seems like for the main MCU, for the main X-Men, you're going to have new characters going after the adolescents. Feige also confirms that Jake Schreier is the director of X-Men in this interview. He did also say that one of the reasons why is because Jake Schreier is really tapped into the youth. That's kind of wild. I don't know what that... do you guys get that from Jake Schreier? All I could see was, the meme where he's like, hello, fellow kids, I don't know. Maybe, I guess. I think Thunderbolts was a soft X-Men thing anyway, with all the different powers, the characters. I've spoken about that in the past. I think Jake Schreier's a great pick. But the point is, Kevin's adamant about saying new, young X-Men. And it really will be a reset. And talking about how Xavier's School is a place for adolescent stories, that tracks, but it really makes me think, dude, they're doing new Xavier. They're doing new everybody. So this is probably the biggest, I guess, proof of that from Marvel Studios. I think after this interview, if you're casting X-Men, if you're fan cast, if you're thinking about the reset, which is going to be so hard, like I call it the MCU reboot. I guess we could start trying to call it the MCU reset, and we could just say we're plussing everything over here. I don't know. You guys let me know. Point is, I think there were a lot of questions on what that would look like exactly. Now I'm kind of thinking no legacy actors. Like, you're probably not getting an older Gambit. You're probably not getting, like, a much older Storm. Like, you're probably looking at new, younger cast for the X-Men. Okay, so that's, like, the main thing. But there is, within here, statements about Tony Stark and Steve Rogers being recast as well. Now, before we talk about Tony and Steve, I think the most obvious, glaring thing is T'Challa, right? Like, if Kevin is literally saying we're going to recast characters, including Steve Rogers and Iron Man, then you officially have literally no excuse to not recast T'Challa. Okay, now, this gets a little messy because as far as we understand, they absolutely are going to recast T'Challa. This whole concept of reset versus reboot, though, actually becomes pretty important here. The current rumors are that after Secret Wars, which, by the way, I'm starting to think we're going to get a time jump. I'm starting to think you're going to get Secret Wars, and the X-Men movie might be literally 10 years after Secret Wars. Okay? Not 100% on that, but I'm starting to get that feeling, okay? So anyway, you start off X-Men, youthful characters, and the whole idea is you want new, but not to throw out the old. T'Challa becomes a little tricky because the current plan is they want to have the child, T'Challa II, Toussaint, the secret child that T'Challa had. They want him to be aged up, and they want him to be the Black Panther. Okay? So if they do the time jump thing, that's the way to do it. They can do multiversal shenanigans, all that sort of stuff. Okay? This could hint to Marvel perhaps being a little bit more open about T'Challa proper coming back. And if this happens, you have to give a lot of credit to the fans. And I know the recast T'Challa folks can be a little annoying at times. They're kind of like Snyder bro-ish in some ways. However, if this ends up changing, you got to give those guys a lot of credit because they continued to make this a thing. They were very vocal about it. Mainstream YouTubers and content creators have all shifted their opinion on this. When Jeff Snyder first reported that T'Challa was coming back, people were elated, and I think he got it wrong. Like, I think Jeff misreported that it was actual T'Challa back, but Marvel was actually given a great gift because they were able to see how positively people responded to that news. So we know Marvel can adjust on the fly. They change stuff a lot. They like to plus things. You know, a lot of plussing going around there. Maybe they had a full plan, maybe just not a set plan. Okay? Point is, can we figure out whatever nomenclature we have to create to get the real fucking T'Challa back? Like, come on, man. Like, we got to get the real T'Challa back, okay? So that's the first part of this. Unspoken in the article, and yet huge conversation about that in the fandom. But now let's move on. Okay, I think we're all on the same page with that. Now, moving on, Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. I mean, dude, Mackie, you should have made more money. You should not have made those America comments, motherfucker. You were this close to being Captain America for 5 to 10 more years. If you had just kept your mouth shut. No, I'm just kidding. It's probably not Mackie's fault. But the reality is, I don't think we're doing Falcon Cap anymore, man. And by the way, Marvel now has a data point to point to, right? So there's going to be a whole bunch of people that are like, I don't think so. Oh, it's crazy. It's not fair. Bro, they're just going to constantly point to that film. They're just going to point to the box office of that movie. That's all they got to do, right? So I think Captain America, I think Falcon Cap is probably gone. Now, I would assume he's going to get a lot of shine in the next couple of movies, get some closure with Steve. Fans of the character probably still have a lot of good stuff. And it's also possible that he persists into the reboot. He might even keep the mantle of Captain America, although I kind of doubt it. If they recast Steve Rogers, What they really want, guys, is Steve Rogers versus Cyclops. I know a lot of people are like, oh, but what about Anthony Mackie? No, bro. The reason they're doing this is they want Steve Rogers versus Cyclops. Avengers versus X-Men does not hit the same way with Falcon Cap. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. So they need actual Steve to do AVX properly. So that's probably a big consideration. And in that sense, I do imagine Steve will retain the shield. He will become Cap again. And to be honest with you, the way they've built up MCU Cap with Anthony Mackie, he doesn't even really want the shield. He literally didn't want it. So I think it'll be fine. We're all going to move on. He'll be Falcon or Falcon Cap, and then there'll be actual Cap. It's going to be fine. Tony Stark, maybe even more interesting. This would lead me to believe that Downey as Doom could be sticking around, and therefore they need a new Tony. And oh my God, why would they need a new Tony? Well, because the Tony we had was never actually Tony Stark. Now, I know that's a crazy theory. I've talked a lot about it. I still think it's real. This news does technically line up with that. And I'm sure that would be crazy and a lot of you guys would freak out about it. However, either way, I think Tony Stark is so important to Marvel. There were people back when they were making Endgame that didn't want Tony to die. The Russos didn't want him to die. Iron Man himself, RDJ, originally did not want him to die. It was Kevin that wanted to kill him off. Kind of interesting. Now, Kevin seems to be open to the idea of recasting a character, of doing another run. I got to tell you, that really does make me feel like that theory that I had, and that chat definitely did not help me with at all, and it was all on me. It's all my genius, and chat gets zero credit for it. I really do think this leans into that being real. So we'll see. We're going to see how you guys all react to that. It's pretty crazy. Either way you slice it, though, getting another Tony Stark, I think that's a huge deal. I think it's really important. You want to see Tony Stark with Reed Richards. You want to see Tony Stark messing with the mutants. You want to see Tony Stark dealing with the big cosmic threat of Annihilus and all that crazy shit that's going on. So this is interesting. Another thing here, I want to kind of wrap this part up by saying, I think Superman made this way more attractive. There's something about Superman and the DCU. It's really fresh and new, and it's exciting to speculate about where this could be going. The MCU reset, getting Steve and Tony back, and T'Challa back, hopefully, that also makes it really interesting. I actually would prefer to do videos speculating about that, talking about how that could work, as opposed to like what's going on with the current Avengers, New Avengers debacle in 616 right now. And I think if DC's like realizing, hey, we need Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman, Marvel's probably realizing like we need the X-Men, we need Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four. You know what? I think we need Steve Rogers. I think we need Iron Man. This all tracks. This all makes perfect sense. So it is a change. This is different than what Kevin said even 5 years ago. Probably brought on by declines in the MCU overall. The fact that Superman has been successful, sort of with this freshness. All of a sudden, I'm quite interested in the MCU reset. It'll be fascinating. Like, here's another reason why I think this could be really good. What if the first X-Men movie, or maybe the second X-Men movie, is like X-Men and then you see the new Tony Stark? Like, what if we have no idea who the new Tony Stark is, but Kevin is like, oh, hey, for our next X-Men movie, you're going to finally meet the new Tony Stark. Like, that sort of has this built-in excitement. It's taking me back to like phase 1, phase 2, where seeing how this was going to be adapted was a part of the value proposition. That was part of what made it so fun. So I'm actually really positive on this. I think this is great. And I would say like that means in like 2 years from now, 3 years from now, we're doing speculation videos on who the new Steve Rogers is. We're doing new speculation on who's the new T'Challa. We're doing speculation on the new Tony Stark. We're doing speculation on what's up with these new Avengers. How are they going to be different? You know, all that sort of stuff. So I love it, man. I think that's the mic drop of the interview. I think it's incredibly significant. And I think as far as setting up a future for Marvel that fans can be excited about, this was the big one. So I wanted to talk about it. Yeah. What do you think? What do you guys think, man? The Mackie grifter stopped commenting now. I don't know what that means, bro. I don't know what that means. Me and the boys pitching Margaret Qualley as Rogue to Kev. Oh, hell yeah. Like Jordan Belfort. Yeah. No, she would be great. Black Iron Man, played by RDJ. Oh, I see what you did. That's from that famous meme. It's a game changer. They set themselves up to compete with the new DCU by staying fresh. I think that's what it is, bro. That's also why competition is so good, right? This is why competition matters so much. Because if there wasn't Superman, like, would they really make this movie? Like, it feels like they're interested. But would they commit? That's the question. Ibze says, do you think Bob Century will have a huge role in both Avengers films and even in future films? I really hope so. He killed it, man. I like the character a lot. I would assume he has a decent role, but it's also hard to say. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know. I'd love for him to have a big role, but there's so much they have to juggle with probably more important characters. So, yeah, kind of wild. Kind of wild. Tom Cruise got the Scientology super soldier serum confirmed. I mean, wouldn't that be wild? I think they go younger, though. I think they're going to go younger to match up with their X-Men. Do you still think the MCU 616 Secret Talent will still exist? Yeah. Yeah, I do. Also, I think Kang will return. Yeah, I would imagine you could do some Kang stuff in the future, for sure. I want to hear what RDJ will sound like when he speaks as Doom. Me too, bro. Me too. The adoption storyline you theorized is awful. Instant F-tier film if they do that. To be honest, they're most likely going to have RDJ Doom wear Tony's face. I guess we're going to see. I can't wait for Galactus voice. Dude, that's going to be cool too. Hell yeah. Thoughts about Kevin standing on business with DEI stuff? I think that was based. That's a weird comment. I would say this. I think it's the appropriate response. And I also think what they're actually doing is an appropriate response as well. So I think he handled it well. But Reed is older if Reset coming. I got to be honest with you. I say recast the FF as well. I know that sounds crazy. I think recast the FF as well. That probably sounds so crazy. I say do it. But, I mean, they could do it with Reed. It's fine, but, FF should be older. Maybe. With you up till that. I mean, it's a little wild, but I would say they're going to get so much shine in these next couple of movies. Fuck it, bro. But then again, if they keep RDJ Doom, maybe they want to keep Reed Pedro too to sort of play off of that. So we'll see. Bro, we haven't even got the movie yet. Look, dude, I'm excited for the movie. I think it's looking good. But he didn't shave that stash, so recast. All right. Maybe I'm being a little wild on that one. F4 tracking Quantumania numbers. No, it isn't. But I appreciate you being an annoying, persistent pain in my fucking side. Keep bringing that shit up in the chat. I've seen you all goddamn stream. It's not true. I already said it wasn't true, but go on. Go on, King. They're putting too much into these characters already to just recast them. Counterpoint. No, they aren't. Damn, ain't I a stinker? That's what I do. God bless you. Okay, we got more. We got more, okay? I just thought you guys would have more to say about the recasting, but I guess not. Should we move on? Yo, that's lit. Move on, though. Next topic, move along. Exactly. My son saw the FF trailer for the first time today and wants to go. Nice, man. That's going to be sick. Josh, did you hear Ralph and Easton saying he listened to the sound of hurricanes and tsunamis to create the sound of Galactus' breathing? So hyped. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Josh, do you think there's any chance we get Dan Stevens' Legion in Secret Wars? No. It would be sick, though. I guess never say never, right? But, no, I don't think so. Okay, let's move it along. Let's talk about Superman's box office. So weekend number 2 just happened. We got some numbers here. And actually, we have actuals, right? Which did go up again. Pretty impressive stuff here. So let's get into it. This is Luis Fernando, good pundit, done a lot of box office report. We look at his stuff all the time, okay? Luis says, as I expected, updated Sunday figures almost 1.5 million higher for Superman as highest grossing comic book movie of 2025 and the 4th fastest DC film to cross 200 million. Super 58.5 on the 5th biggest second 3-day opening weekend in history. Strong legs, just a 53.2 drop for DC. 3rd biggest weekend of the year. Biggest second weekend ever for a movie featuring Supes, beating Batman v Superman's drop. Superman 236 Coom in the U.S., beating Captain America Brave New World. Still having some trouble internationally. And Luis has 370 to 450 run in the U.S. Now, yesterday, when Luis was reporting on this, he said it had 600 million locked and loaded. Okay, and I gotta tell you, I still don't think that's actually true. And not to say that Luis is not very good, but there's just stuff happening that, like, I think he's maybe missing, and so I want to explain what's going on. I also have been, of course, watching Grace Randolph's coverage of this. Her coverage has changed a lot, too. From week 1 to week 2, movie math was crazy. Week 1 for Superman, she said it needed to get a 6 in front of it or fire James Gunn. Now she's finally admitting this thing could end with a 5 in front of it. Okay? And you might be like, wait a minute, why? Why does she think that? Why do I think that? Well, it basically all has to do with 2 things. Number 1, the international market. So Superman is crushing domestically. It's doing great in the States. I think that's just, like, obvious. Like, these are very strong numbers for the States, okay? However, internationally, it is really struggling, not just in Asian markets, but in a lot of markets. It seems that this will have an inverse of most other big DC movies, which all had much higher international box office than domestic. This is going to be like a total flip from Man of Steel, where it's going to have stronger domestic numbers and weaker international numbers. The question is, how much weaker? Because if the international numbers fall off a fucking cliff, which it seems like they might, this thing's going to struggle to get above 600 million. On top of that, even domestically, it's facing the Fantastic Four. Okay. And look, the Fantastic Four, we've had a lot of numbers, just like with Superman. The ranges were wild. There were some people saying it's going to make 160 million domestic. We had other people saying it was going to make 110 million domestic. We got Scientific Lens in the chat here. Give him a big shout out for the clip. That's been in here saying it's operating at the level of Quantumania over and over and over and over again. He's wrong. But I understand why he thinks that, because there's been a lot of ranges out there. Okay. The reality is this. Over the weekend, the Hollywood trades have said that the Fantastic Four's opening weekend is looking to be 130 to 140 domestic. Its pre-sales have done nothing but get stronger as we head to the film. The buzz seems real. It's going to pop. It's going to do Superman numbers or better. Probably better. Okay? I would imagine it's also going to do better internationally, although it is fair to point out that it's tracking really low in China. China seems to be like almost out of play for a lot of these big comic book movies, but you would expect Fantastic Four would do a lot better in some of these other markets as compared to how Superman has performed, but I guess we'll see. The jury is still out on that, okay? So basically, if Fantastic Four comes in and eats Superman's lunch and Superman continues to do terribly internationally, Superman could still end with a 5 in front of it. Now, after this very good second weekend, it is looking to basically be guaranteed past 5 and probably very close to 6. So even if it just gets 5 in front of it, it's probably still close to 6, like 560, 550, 570, something like that. Okay. So is this good? Is this bad? I think for the sake of the DCU, they would like to get this thing into the 6s, of course. If they get it past Batman v Superman, or rather past Man of Steel, that's a big feather in the cap, right? But the truth is the die has already been cast. Okay, I've said this a lot, but it's true. From week 1, they were out there saying it only needs 500. You know, even weeks before it released, Gunn was out there saying it's ridiculous to say that it needs to get to 700. Guys, the reality is, if this thing barely gets to 5, if this thing doesn't even get to 5, they're still going ahead. They're committed. Now, I do think they will have to adjust, right? And I think Zaslav is looking at these international numbers, and he's like, oh, man, I just don't know about that. Like, we need something other than Superman. Maybe Superman should not have started this whole thing. There's probably some real concerns about Supergirl, right? That's probably why you're seeing them say, we want to fast track the Wonder Woman movie. We want to just get Wonder Woman out there. They keep talking about Batman and stuff like that, because those are the heavy hitters. I don't know exactly how this scheduling happened, but DC cannot have another thing like this where their movie gets cut off 2 weeks after it's released by like a Marvel movie that's like weirdly similar in tone and aesthetic and stuff like that. Like, dude, I think this is going to be really bad for Superman, because Fantastic Four is tracking very strong, right? So, number 1, they need to figure out their scheduling better. Number 2, I think you build. The next one should do better. I'm a little worried about Supergirl. Clayface is the stupidest idea I've ever heard. But Wonder Woman should do really well. You know, a Justice League thing, that should do really well. Like, they have a lot of potential. They need to figure out the international thing. And then they certainly need to probably go after more popular characters. Even Superman, like, you can make an argument that like Superman has really never popped off like that, especially compared to Batman and Wonder Woman. So there's good things here, there's bad things here, but I gotta tell you, man, I still think there's a chance for Superman to have a 5 in front of it, and that would suck, but it's not enough to destroy the universe. They're going to keep going. Now, if Supergirl underperforms and Clayface doesn't pop, wow, they're in a pretty rough spot. And then if Matt Reeves shit like pops off, like, this is the really tricky part, right? If Superman only gets to 5, okay, and Supergirl underperforms, and then Batman hits $1 billion, what do they do in that situation? Like, do you know what I mean? Are you really going to hand that character to Gunn to go make a version that's less mass appeal, that is dangerous. That's a little bit scary. Okay? So there's still all sorts of ways this could go badly. And unfortunately for DC, I think it's about to go badly in one big way, and that's because I think Fantastic Four is going to eat its fucking lunch. Like, I don't know. Like, sure, am I a little bit biased? Yes. I love Superman, but I love Marvel, and obviously I have the bet, right? But, dude, I'm not, like, ass-pulling. Like, I'm telling you, for Grace to have adjusted the way she feels about this, she added 500 as a possibility because I think she actually does see this as a possibility, and that's what it is. So I guess we'll see. What I would say about the second week for Superman is, like, just like the first weekend, probably good enough. You know, like, good enough. There's obviously interest here. People are loving the film. The international thing, you need to figure that out. I don't know what the solution is, but you need to figure that out. Domestically, very strong. A good start. But I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. Like, I think a lot of people are saying this thing is, like, locked for, like, 700, 800 now. This thing could get to 1 billion, or, like, this is this big fucking massive hit. That's not exactly what's going on. The story is a bit more checkered than that. So those are the box office numbers for Superman opening weekend, and my prediction right now is, like, 550. I think it'll get to 550 total. And again, that's good enough. It's good enough to me. What do you guys think? What do you think, man? Haven't had a good track record lately, Josh? Drinking too much Marvel Kool-Aid? Maybe. We'll see. 550, I'll take the over. You think so? Do you think it gets to 6? Bruh, I think Gunn stopped Superman from being a smash hit. I am starting to believe that as well, but we're going to have to wait and see. Like, we're going to have to wait and see. Because if it gets to 6, if it gets to 7, then we have no argument. If this thing doesn't get to 6, I think we need to take a serious look at James Gunn. You know, just dial him back a little bit. He's obviously a good filmmaker, but dial him back in the promo. It's probably the move. How is 550 million good enough? Why are we lowering the bar now? Well, I'm not lowering the bar. The company that made the movie, Warner Brothers Discovery, they told the Wall Street Journal that 500 was good enough for them. So that's why I'm saying it. I'm not changing the story. You're just listening to other voices. Dial his brother back too. I actually thought his brother was fine. I mean, that one comment was a little flagrant, but I thought he was fine. I don't care what fanboys say. 550 mil for Superman is a failure. I would say it's a disappointment. I would not say it's a failure. But yeah. Going after his brother is wild. Well, his brother is a front-facing public figure that is representing the brand in multiple ways. I actually think his brother is completely fair game. Unless he hadn't been cast. Then we lay off. Now, fair game. They should figure out a way to bring DC fans together. The only way to get past the MCU, divided, clearly having an impact, maybe Elseworlds. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I don't know what the solution exactly is there, and I think Gunn did a terrible job at it. But I think a divided DC is just not going to be able to stand up to Marvel. And I think that's what you got. Like, you still have a divided DC. You know? But the first step of building is, like, that first brick. I think Superman is a great starting point. But they have a lot of stuff they have to do. Like, a lot of adjustments, a lot of stuff they got to do, man. Like, they cannot just be satisfied with what Superman is doing. Like, it is good enough for the start, but they need to improve. People are dividing DC just for DC not to go back or finish what they want them to finish. Maybe. Gunn said they have a Wonder Woman script in the works, though. Maybe Wonder Woman will make big numbers. Yeah, I agree. I think that's the move. A DC divided against itself cannot stand. Restore the Snyderverse. Quoted by Abraham Lincoln. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Superman will always be character people are iffy on. Maybe. Could be. You might be right. Supergirl should really be in a Lobo movie. Ooh, maybe they can market it so that it seems like that. Yeah. This is for sure the first time I'm asking this, but how long before the reboot again? LOL, DC has a track record. That's why I kind of have trepidation with DC. Well, they're moving ahead, man. They're moving ahead. I think you'd have to have a couple of failures in a row before you start talking reboot again. You know? So, if we say Batman 1 and 2 takes place 8 to 10 years before Superman, Pattinson can still play the character, but Gotham can rebound from the structural damage. Yeah, maybe. It's possible. Warner Brothers better have low expectation with Supergirl and Clayface. I think all eyes will be on Superman or Supergirl. I think that's a big deal for them. Clayface is probably whatever, to be honest. Candle says Supes was 6 out of 10. Ultimately, the Gunn elements stifled it. Lex was basically using Ultraman like a sovereign in Guardians of the Galaxy. Hope other projects are better. Yeah, I mean, I have it higher than that, and I love the movie, but I would agree that it needs to be better. And it does have a lot of, like, it's very James Gunn. It's very James Gunn. It worked for me, but yeah, no, I think that's fair. DCU is crazy. Wow. Well, I mean, Wonder Woman, Supergirl. I mean, it could be the DCU. Could be. Do you think we're ever going to see Hawkman in the DCU? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay, should we move on a little? Shall we move along, chat? Shall we move along? Okay. Let me see if I can find the clip for you guys here. Okay. Ah, man. Maybe that's just the move here. Trying to find it here. Trying to find these comments. Sorry. Okay. You know, I'm gonna try to be fair about this. Okay. I'm gonna try to be fair about this. So, James Gunn recently was on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast with Josh Horowitz. I love that show. I like Josh. I think he does a great job. Gunn was clarifying and talking about the Henry Cavill comments. Let's see what he said here.
The job at DC Studios, yeah. And we're talking to David Zaslav and all the legal people there and figuring out what our deals would be. And the day our deal closed, all of a sudden, they were announcing that, that Henry was back, and I'm like, what is going on? So,
I mean, look, I'm going to be really fair, but you could just tell he's lying right away. Like, you could just
know what the plan is. Like, we know what the plan is. The plan was to come in and do Superman.
Yeah.
So it was really unfair to him, and it was a total bummer. But there was a vacuum at the time, and a lot of people were trying to be as
diplomatic as possible. There were other people that had a take on what they wanted to do with it.
They wanted to take on what they wanted to do with DC, and were trying to force their way, and it just was never a part of the equation for David Zaslav, who was the head of W.
Okay, never a part of the equation for David Zaslav. Okay, that's what he's saying here, and he's saying that basically we knew what the plan was. It was always going to be this way. They were going to do Superman. And he's kind of making it seem like the people that promoted Cavill, The Rock, and all that sort of stuff, that they were not involved. They were not connected to Zaslav. They were trying to do some, power play kind of a thing. Okay. Problem with that is, a couple of weeks before Superman came out, Wall Street Journal has this huge spread. They talked about all sorts of dirty laundry in this article. This is a very good journalistic piece by some great journalists, okay? Now, one of the things they revealed in there is that David Zaslav had started meeting with people who had thoughts on how to fix DC, including The Rock, but those talks ended after Black Adam flopped. Okay, so I want to tell you, like, actually what happened, and also too, like, I'm sort of interwoven into this story because I'm classically the guy that was like, James Gunn doesn't like Henry Cavill before he publicly fired him, and then he like fired him and shit and all that sort of stuff, right? But I'm just telling you, like, I do know what happened. I know it doesn't seem like it. I know it's probably hard to believe, you know, and Gunn's like, oh, you're so plugged in. No, I actually am. Because I was right then. I'm right now. I know what happened, okay? So, Zaslav was meeting with multiple folks. Okay, and I want to explain this because it's actually pretty crazy what was happening. Zaslav is trying to find his MCU. And he's taking all kinds of meetings for the job of his Kevin Feige. Okay? As the story goes, basically nobody wanted that job, by the way. The Rock did, which is kind of wild. The Rock did. Peter Safran did. James Gunn did. Basically, nobody else in the town wanted that job. There's just too much baggage, DC broken brand, all these sort of things, okay? Rock is pushing for Cavill. Cavill gets, despite all the craziness that was going on, because remember, there were moments where it looked like Cavill wasn't going to be involved in DC. It was like 6+ years without him actually making an appearance. He makes the one appearance in Shazam. But Cavill, if you'll recall, there were multiple things where, like, he did that one video where he has, like, the Superman toy and he held it up. There was comments from his agent that said the cape is still in his closet. If you'll recall this, like, Cavill was basically always wanting to come back as Superman. DC always wanted Cavill to come back, but they actually wanted to use him like Nick Fury. I don't know if you guys remember this, but there were all these reports that, like, they wanted to use him as the Nick Fury as he set up the Justice League. That's the scene in Shazam. Cavill didn't want to do that because he didn't want to be like cameo guy. He wanted a true sequel to Man of Steel. He wanted to, like, be involved. He wanted to be Superman. Okay? So all of this is going on. David is literally meeting with The Rock. And it, you know, Gunn is trying to make it seem like this was never a part of the plan. Not true. If Black Adam had performed, I think he gives the job to Dwayne. Period. So as all of this is going on, Zaslav is meeting with The Rock. Zaslav does think The Rock could actually do it. It wasn't until the actual numbers come in that then they pivot away from it. And, oh, by the way, the studio was absolutely down and did tell Henry to get out there and announce that he was back as Superman. Now, here's one thing, though. Cavill did not have a contract. Okay, so I want to be clear here. He did not have a contract. So it wasn't like he had a contract, they were set, it was all ready to go. But remember that the studio had wanted him. He had wanted to do it. Rock wanted to bring him in. And so it all sort of comes together in this moment where you're like, okay, we'll get Henry here, announce that you're coming back. We're ready to go. And then it doesn't perform in the box office, and Zaslav gives it to Gunn. Crazy. Crazy. Now, here's the other thing. They absolutely could have continued with Henry Cavill. Do you remember when he said he wanted to do like a younger, he's like, oh, it won't work. Henry can't be my Superman because my Superman's so much younger. And then like he cast basically a Henry Cavill clone in David Cornsweet. Like they look so similar, right? Like, so that was always bullshit. He absolutely could have soft rebooted, which he does soft reboot, by the way, just not with anybody else's toys. It's just with his own toys. Okay? He absolutely could have soft rebooted. He could have folded in The Rock's shit. He could have folded in Henry Cavill. He absolutely could have done that, and he decided not to do it. Okay? So this whole story that Gunn's now trying to sell, this poor guy, they were playing him. It was, you know what I mean? Like, that's just not really what happened. There was obviously some Game of Thrones level power play that was going on, but Cavill was set to return. They were going to go with Dwayne Johnson. I think it just bombed, didn't do what they wanted, and they switch. David says no. Talks fall apart, as reported by the Wall Street Journal. You can't have talks end if there weren't talks to begin. Right? So at the end of the day, like, it's probably fine. I know what Gunn's trying to do. And I think, you know, he's made some comments like he would love to cast Henry Cavill in there. He's like, oh, it's so unfair. Like, this poor guy, all the while knowing, like, you absolutely could have cast him. You know, like, you absolutely could have continued with Henry Cavill. You're continuing with Amanda Waller. You're continuing with Rick Flag. You're continuing with Peacemaker. You're continuing with all of your stuff. You're also Elseworlding Matt Reeves stuff. You just didn't want to compete with the Snyder stuff. And that's fine. But I think you should probably be more honest about it, because it's just not, like, you're not winning anybody over here. Like, I guess maybe I'm wrong. Like, maybe there's some people out there that are reading these comments by Gunn now, and they're like, oh, shit, maybe he didn't hate Henry Cavill. Oh, shit, like, maybe he did try. Oh, man, poor Henry, not his fault. I don't think so, man. Like, I don't think this is actually making anybody believe this shit. He lied to Gal Gadot. He lied to Henry. I mean, he's a liar. So I guess I should have. I just wanted to address it. I didn't tweet about it, you know, because I was like, fuck it, man. Who really cares? I like Superman. I'm down with the DCU. But just for the sake of clarity here, and because I was sort of intimately involved in this situation, I can tell you for sure, this is not what happened. Like, Gunn's version is not what happened. And if Black Adam had opened at the level of Superman, and even maybe more, you'd have Henry still. Like, that's just what it is. That's facts. So, I don't know. Does that help? Can we all move on now? Or is this just picking at an old wound? How do you feel about this, chat? Henry Cavill fans, how do you feel? Are you butt hurt? Are you fine? Let me know. Let me know. It's just, like, wild to me that, like, the Wall Street, like, he has to know the Wall Street Journal already spilled this a couple of weeks before. You know? And he's just like, no, I'm going to, like, make it up in this moment here on the Josh Harwitz show. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he's just literally acting like people are not educated. Like, people aren't going to know that the Wall Street Journal literally talked about this couple of weeks ago. You know, I don't know, man. Maybe I should just let it go. But I just find it to be a little ridiculous. Leave him alone. He's busy with Warhammer. Who, Henry? Yeah, 100%. Didn't Gunn direct Thanksgiving? Yeah, and it was terrible. You know, with, like, the turkey and the yams and stuff. Goon gonna goon. Yes, it's true. I believe Gunn. That's your prerogative, man. You could believe a liar. Gunn is in your head, bro. Let it go. Let what go? Like, part of why I didn't even want to bring this segment up is because people would have that take or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, I can't really control that. All I can control is me. And I know for sure that there are at least some people that wanted to hear me weigh in on this, because they're like, wait a minute. Can this actually be true? And look, for those of you that care, as far as I understand it, it is not true. So there you have it. I don't know that that's him being in my head, but yeah. Gunn and DC nerdy news, though. Yeah. No, I mean, Superman just came out. And Gunn has chosen to make these comments about the situation with Henry Cavill. So there you go. We come here for your perspective, bro. Hey, thanks. I mean, I'm sure some of you do. Some of you probably come here to just be mad or whatever, but it is what it is. Nothing refutes what he said. Both stories can be true with no contradictions. Nope. You're wrong. You're wrong. Gunn said it was never a consideration. That wasn't the plan. We knew what the plan was. He's literally lying. He's lying. That's not true. New Predator Badlands trailer. Lots to unpack. Ooh, for the new Predator movie? I tell you, we got other topics here, so I don't know that we have time to delve into that. There's a couple other things I want to get into. Couple of other things, man. I tell you what, let's get into this one's actually exciting. This is actually something I think DC is doing that's good. Let me see if I can pull this up. Where's the Jimmy Olsen? Okay, this is pretty crazy, chat. So, we just got a really interesting scoop about a coming project for the DCU. By the way, Rolling Stone just reported, I think it was 3 days ago, that they are fast-tracking a show. Some new DCU show. A lot of people think it's a spinoff of the film. A couple other outlets said it could have been a Mr. Terrific show or a Jimmy Olsen show. And I remember a lot of people, when we first heard this, we were like, bro, a Jimmy Olsen show? Get the fuck out of here. Like, Mr. Terrific could be cool, but a Jimmy Olsen show? Get out of town. However, that was before we heard what it could be. This is actually kind of intriguing. So it says here, the Jimmy Olsen series is reportedly a crime anthology centered on various DC villains, with Skylar Gizondo's Jimmy Olsen as the host. Okay, now that actually could work. That actually could work. So, what is this? This would be an anthology series, maybe even framed diegetically. Okay, now I know a lot of you not educated, you don't know what that means. But diegetic would mean from the world of the story. So, for instance, this could actually be some kind of special report crime anthology that in the actual living world of the DC universe is published by the Daily Planet. So, like a Dateline thing, like a 60 Minutes thing or whatever, and it's actually done as though you, as just a person in the DC world, would watch it to learn about the different villains. Okay, so that's what that means, diegetic. So it could be like that. It could also just be a show where he is putting together these exposés and these different reports on these different DC villains. Like, that could be really cool. I think the reason I like this, it goes back to what we were talking about as far as the value proposition of a new universe, the DCU being new, us not understanding what all villains are in there, how they interact, what is the status of the metahumans, you know, is this character here, is Batman here, all of these questions. A show like this could answer some of those questions in a really satisfying way. And I gotta be honest, I wish Marvel would do some shit like this. Like, real talk, I wish Marvel would do this, because you'd get like a sense of like all these different villains, how they actually fit in the world and whatnot. This could be so interesting. So you could get a look at different DCU villains, like maybe an expose on Luthor, even though he's in jail. And this could be kind of like a soft sequel to Superman, setting up what he's doing in the future. You know, you could do the Joker, right? You could do Riddler, you know, you could do Parasite, you could do all sorts of big, crazy DC villains, maybe like a Vandal Savage, maybe Ra's al Ghul. A lot of these characters that we're so interested in, dude, I actually think this could work, and you could do it low budget, because it's not like you need all the actual characters like doing special effects and like big CGI fights and shit like that. So it could be Jimmy and research and him putting things together and using B-roll. Like, dude, I went from thinking there was no way in the world they can make a DC Jimmy Olsen show that I would be interested in any way, shape, or form, to all of a sudden thinking, bruh, this could actually work. This could actually work and be a really interesting way to crack into the wider scope of the DCU. And instead of like us having to wait for like the next movie to see what the next villain is, the next movie after that to see what the next villain is, and then maybe there's a bigger villain after that. No, we would get a little slice, a little flavor of all of these interesting DC villains and potentially how they're all connected to some bigger thing. Like, what if they call it Jimmy Olsen Legion of Doom? And what if Jimmy Olsen is discovering not just secret, DC villains that are out there, but how they're all actually a part of a secret group of villains similar to the Justice Society or the Justice League, and they are pulling the strings in a way that should really concern the public. Yo, that could be lit. So I'm actually intrigued with this one, man. I actually think this could be really good. I wonder what you guys think. You think yes? You think no way in hell? Are there some villains you would love to see in this? Like, what are you guys thinking about this? Like, I see some people in chat saying, DC, please don't make this. Oh, come on. Sounds like some Disney Plus shit. Oh, my God. Is everybody negative on this? Calvin says it can work. I'm intrigued for sure, says RG. Nice. Remember when they gave Cap Sidekick a show? Falcon and the poor choice for a studio. Hey, you don't say that. Cabal of Riz. Hell yeah. DC Plus ass shit is shit. I'm here for it. Oh, my God. You guys are all over the place, man. You guys are all over the place. It's okay, but where's the action? Maybe it doesn't have a lot of action. Maybe it's mostly an expose. You know, like a crime anthology. If you watch 60 Minutes, or if you watch fucking, what are these stupid crime shows? If you watch one of those, are you asking where the action is there? Plussing a bit too hard? Oh, shit, okay. I could see it. Jimmy was hilarious in Superman. I like Superman, and I like Jimmy Olsen. Stupid as hell. We had Darkseid. Are you a Snyder fan? It's cool if you are, but I'm just wondering. How many episodes would this be? Not really sure. Maybe 6, maybe 8. 48 hours, but DC. Exactly. This is how they'll introduce Batman? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. This feels like it would end up being a live-action version of the Harley Quinn cartoon. Oh, God, I hope not. I'm seeing something different. I have a different vision for it. I think it could be much cooler than that. You think they would name it Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen? Probably not. Probably not. Go on. Please don't let Gunn do Batman. Oh, you don't think so? You don't think Gunn would do a good Batman? Darkseid was first revealed in a Jimmy Olsen solo comic. Oh, damn! Jack Star Slayer dropping some knowledge. Hope you have a good day. Goat, my favorite YouTube streamer. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Tales from the Daily Planet. Yeah, something like that, man. Something like that. Maybe he's risen up all the super villainesses. You know? Maybe all the lady villains be feeling that Jimmy. You know what I'm saying. I wouldn't want Gunn to direct a Batman movie, that's for sure. Yeah, same. I think you're right. Sneak peeks into the lore while following Jimmy could be fine if done tastefully. Yes, I agree. Why didn't they just give Christopher Nolan the biggest contract ever to do all of DC? I don't think he's that interested in it. Oh, I take it back. Jimmy Olsen show reveal Darkseid. That would be hilarious. Only to piss off the Snyder fans. Hey, whoa! Holy shit! You guys are at each other's throats, man. Can't you guys get along? You're all DC fans. Hey, DC fans, are you guys gonna give this up? Are you all gonna get on board with Gunn's shit or what? Josh, are you sick or something? What the fuck are you saying right now? A Jimmy show? Brother, is what? I'm telling you, I think a Jimmy Olsen show, like what if the whole thing is done with red yarn and articles and stuff, and the whole thing is just some really big like infographic kind of a thing. Like, dude, I'm all about it. I don't think Nolan cares, and he's done with Warner Brothers after Tenet. Yeah, true. Nolan was only interested after Goyer showed him the Superman script. Yeah, true. Little clips from the VOT network. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You know what? I always wanted, while watching the Infinity Saga, an MCU show like 60 minutes in style. Yes. It's a good idea. We all are excited for this. We all want this to happen. And I'm so glad we're all on the same page. Hell yeah. Okay, one more story. Then we'll open it up for a little Q&A. And then we got to get out of here because I just got really hungry. You guys ever just, like, you're a little hungry and you're fine. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm really hungry. Whew! I'm hungry. Hang on. Okay. I, like many of you, have been trying to figure out who could be the DCU Batman. And I'm kind of sold on this guy, Nate Mann. Now, I'm trying to find there's a video with his voice, because his voice sounds really good for Batman. Damn, I can't really find it. I gotta find his voice. Oh, is this it?
That's great. Do we think that again? Who? The Dirty Harry.
So that's his voice right there. He was doing like an impression of like a Dirty Harry. Let's pull up some pictures so you guys can see this. I think this dude would be a perfect Bruce Wayne, man. He's younger. He's got the Bruce Wayne look, like just the intensity. You know, he'd have to get under a barbell, get a little size on him, but, you know, Corn Sweat did that as well. And it's like a lot of people are...
And I still have that one, the rubber mask, the replica mask, but it doesn't get much public use.
Like that, I just think the voice and the look here.
The rubber mask, the replica mask, but it doesn't get much public use.
Dude, I'm sold. Here, listen to the voice.
I still have that one, the rubber mask, the replica mask, but it doesn't get much public use.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard. People are just like getting like little sound bites and whatnot, but you know, they're doing all these like fan cam edits and shit like that. But I really think that he could be a great pick for Bruce Wayne. I don't know what they're all looking at. I don't know exactly what Gunn's whole thing is with what he wants for Bruce, but I think this would be a really good Bruce Wayne, man. And obviously, you know, he doesn't look like Batman here, as some people are pointing out, but what you guys are not realizing is he puts on a mask when he's Batman. I know this is a tough one for some of you, but he's two different people. So he's Bruce Wayne, and then when he puts on a mask, he becomes Batman. So just to get that out of the way, so you guys know that that's how that works. I think it'd be good. What do you guys think? Is it too early? Is it too crazy? Am I too crazy? You don't think this guy could be Batman? Terrible fan cast? What? No. No. I think this is the guy. He looks similar to David. He looks like he could play across David for sure. I think this is the guy, man. I just saw a bunch of younger people doing fan cams of this guy, and I was like, all right, what the hell is this? I started watching him and shit. I was like, yo, I think this could work, man. I think this is a good pick. See, I can find a photo of him, like, because some people like photoshopped him into some Batman shit. I'm telling you, man, I feel like this is our guy. He needs to pack on some size. Here it is. Here it is. Here's him in the cowl. For some of you who are like, that's not Batman. You didn't realize he puts on the cowl. Okay, so here you go. He's 6'3". Damn, I didn't know he was that big. David's 6'4" or something like that, though, isn't he? LOL, now you just unsold me. Ah, shit, no! Mid? God damn it, Justin. Weak chin? He has a great chin. The costume is covering up some of the chin. You guys are crazy, man. Yeah, definitely. Weak chin. This guy's got a weak chin. Totally. What's in your coffee? Don't worry about it. You fucking feds, get out of here. What are your thoughts on Alan Richmond cast as Batman? Too big. Holy shit, I just took a 2-minute break from the stream to look at the Predator Badlands trailer. It looks like the most badass show of the year. Well, Predator Badlands is a movie, brother. But I guess I'll watch it now. Can anyone play Batman and Bruce Wayne? That makes or breaks the role. Too big? Are you serious? Yes! Nah, actually, I wouldn't mind Alan as Batman, to be honest. But I like this guy, man. I like this dude. Like, I can imagine David Corenswet saying some, like, really emotional, loving shit to this guy and him just deadpanning him. Like, that's what I want to see. I want to see David Corenswet getting all emotional, and I want to see this dude just deadpan him. Come on. Come on. Ooh, 100 times Alan Richmond is Captain Atom. That would be sick, dude. Great pick for Captain Atom. Hell yeah. Alan Richmond would fit Gunn's Brave and the Bold. Yeah, I mean, I think so too. It's just like he's just like really big, dude. He's just like, that's a big dude. Yeah. He looks like a good Bruce Wayne, yeah. Hell yeah. This Batman will cry himself to sleep scene incoming. Oh my goodness. You guys are such haters. Jimmy Show equal Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh, my God. Josh, 2 Batman, it will be confusing for the regular people. Yeah, well, Gunn has already said they're not going to do both of those movies in the same year. They're going to let Matt Reeves do his thing, and then they're going to do the DCU. Josh about to put this dude's poster on his ceiling. You're acting like it's not already up there. Now pick a Robin. So if this guy gets Batman, I think the perfect Damian Wayne is Alan Richmond, actually. Because, like, imagine, right? You get that big-ass dude and you stick that little-ass Robin costume on him and have him act like a child. Cinema. If DeVito is as Penguin, I'm in. Hell yeah. Although I heard Gunn was looking at Danny DeVito for Catwoman, actually. It's pretty wild, I know. But, you know, it's Gunn, you know. It's so crazy. Nah, Batman's got to be average size. He's got to be an underdog. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. All right, well, that's all the bits on that. I thought you guys would be a little more excited. I think this dude would be good, man. It's my personal pick. I like Nate Mann as Bruce Wayne, a.k.a. the Batman. I'm going to start campaigning for him. This is my Batman now, and I need this. And I hope James Gunn listens to me. And James, if you cast him as Batman, I'll go easy on your ass for like the next 5 years. Just think about it. Okay. Now, let's just chat for a little bit here, guys. We're going to get out of here soon. That was a nice stream. Now, that's a nice size one, looking at close to 3 hours here. That's a nice, girthy stream. Like I said, I am taking tomorrow and Wednesday off. Unless earth-shattering news drops, I'll do videos, but I need a couple of days off streaming to get some shit sorted out over here. Hope you understand. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Oh, the Predator trailer. Right. Let me see. Predator trailer. Whoa. Looks pretty badass. Looks pretty badass, actually. Let's check this out, man. Whoa. Whoa.
So this is your first hunt. And you've come to the most dangerous planet in the universe.
Whoa. Damn. That's cool. Looks cool.
You're after a creature that can't be killed. The definitive apex predator. I could help you.
Oh, she's a robot. Okay, yeah. Makes sense.
Well, good luck with your journey.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Here, you're not the predator.
Whoa! Oh, that looks sick. The Predator looks a lot better. Dude, that looks dope. Dude, okay.
We might not be alone in this hunt.
Oh my god, that looked like Warhammer. That was a Dreadnought for sure. That looks really cool, man. Damn. Okay, so Field Unit Robot Wayland, Lieutenant Bioweapons Division. Okay, so she's just like a new David or whatever. Dude, the Predator looks so good. In some of the early trailers, he looked kind of whack, man. They cleaned that up. Because he looks cool.
You.
I like that. That's kind of fun. I guess the big question is gonna be like, is she like a little too annoying? Like this seems like right on the line for me. Like, okay, good luck with your journey. Like I don't love that, you know what I mean? I guess it could work. It's just like I wanted to stay on that serious like tone, you know?
Well, good luck with your journey.
I think this, because this is the same guy that directed Prey, right? Got a great eye for like the frame, like the way he fills frames in his establishing shot. Very beautiful. We just actually watched Prey last night because we'd been meaning to catch up on that stuff before Alien Earth. definitely beautiful, man. I really like the visuals. Like these shots here, like this is epic as fuck.
Here, you're not the Predator.
So the question is this another Predator? It looks like it is. Hunting him, rival tribe or something? Damn.
You're the prey.
Bunch of humans? These all look to be the same too. So these are all androids, maybe? This looks dope. I'm gonna watch the shit out of this, man. This is cool.
We might not be alone in this hunt.
It's a Dreadnought Warhammer! Oh my god, just like Warhammer. Can't wait to see live action Warhammer. Ethical Prod says 21st birthday today. Nerve venge my way to the casino. Community. Hey, good luck, man. Can we get some happy birthday wishes in the chat for Ethical Prod? Maybe some of that good birthday juju will help him gamble better or something. That'd be cool. Happy birthday, brother. Hope you have a good time, man. Win some money. Win some money. Man, that's a cool trailer. I like that. I'm excited for Alien Earth, too. Why are you watching thirst traps of this dude? He looks mid enough to play a mid hero. I hope that works. Anyway, 52 months with you. F Star Wars and or not Star Wars. Appreciate it. I just am into watching thirst traps for the potential new Bruce Wayne. Okay, is that so wrong? Is that okay? The Predator looks terrible, dude. What? You think so? I think the Predator looks great. Chat, what do you think? Predator look good? Predator look bad? Alex Bro says, any Unity updates? I tell you this. Hopefully we're shipping by the end of the year. But one of the things I'm trying to do in the next 2 days, because I'm going to take the next 2 days off streaming, is I need to, like... It might be time to do some things. I've been waiting for this one artist to finish his work. I might just get somebody else on it at this point. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, can't really give any updates other than that. Looks good to me. Looks okay. Looks good. Humans hunting predators? Maybe. Good. Looks mid, and I'm a huge Predator fan. Damn. Predator looks like rubber mask Halloween. I think it certainly does in some shots, but in a lot of these shots, it looked good to me. It looked a lot better than it did before. We'll see, Calvin. I need to get an update first, and then we'll see. But I just feel like we're waiting, and it sucks. I'd rather just get things moving and, you know, get the book going. What happened to your fingers? Oh, I've been painting. I've been painting a bunch of Warhammer, so. Yep, I was building and painting a ton of Warhammer yesterday. It was awesome. Good time. Can't wait to watch Alien Earth. Fan of all the Romulus popcorn buckets. Oh, shit. Yep, there you go. There you go. Ooh, nice. Got your Doctor Doom one? I ordered one. It should be here relatively soon. Missed the stream. Been running around with the woo. Looking forward to Thursday. F4 will be here. Looking forward to rewatch and see if you think Feige is lying to us. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. The clips will go up too, so you might just want to wait for the clips, bro. But yeah, a little bit of fudging here and there, but overall, I think he's been pretty honest. Overall. What army are you painting? I was painting Dark Angels yesterday. I put together a 10 squad of incursors. Man, they were a bitch to put together. All the guns have 2 pieces. Their power packs have a little extra piece. The grenades are separate. The knives are separate. The pistols are separate. I was like, this is fucking crazy. Show you? I can't show you. They actually don't look good right now. Because I put together like a really sloppy first coat of green. Like I primed them and then put a really sloppy green on them. I have to put another coat of green, Dark Angels green, and then I need to put all the details on them. Yeah, they're in the next room. Why Warhammer when you could read DC Comics? I mean, there's definitely some DC Comics I want to read, but there's a bunch of Warhammer comics I want to read too. And Warhammer's just the best, you know? Like, I like DC, I like Marvel. But in a lot of ways, Warhammer's like the final boss of being a nerd. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many awesome nerdy things, and you can get into them, you can learn a lot about them. Warhammer might be the final boss of being a nerd because it's the coolest and it is the most detailed and the deepest lore I've ever encountered. It's like you're at the bottom of the nerdy dungeon and that thing is like, holy shit. Yeah. Love the Chewy. Thank you. Well, I guess I'm not a real nerd. I mean, I didn't say that. I'm glad you admitted it on your own. But yeah, I'm gonna get into the Space Marine game this week. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Jeremiah Noble says, "Hey Josh, much love. Most excited part of F4, probably just the scale. Like, I can't wait to see Galactus, his ship, him destroying planets, like them speaking to Galactus. Like, dude, I feel like it's just going to be so fucking cool and like immersive and just like, oh my god, I can't believe this is Galactus. That's probably what I'm most excited for. The final boss is Hell by Alan Moore. Are you talking about that big series of novels he wrote? Or was Hell like a big comic? I forget. Locationary, welcome back to the Nerd Vengers, baby. You are a Nerd Venger now. Hell yeah. Appreciate you, bro. Guys, any other thoughts, comments, questions? What, like, we're going to get out of here. I'm not streaming tomorrow. I'm not streaming on Wednesday. I will have videos and clips for you guys. Don't worry. We're going to have all sorts of fun. Thursday, we'll be back at it live streaming. It'll be before I go to see Fantastic Four. I'll be very excited. I'll probably doing like last minute predictions, you know, stuff like that. Hopefully there'll be some news and whatnot we can talk about too. Friday, we'll do a big stream. By the way, let me ask you a question. How many of you guys are going to see Fantastic Four on Thursday? Throw a 1 into the chat if you are. And the reason I'm asking is I kind of want to do full spoilers Friday morning, but I know a lot of you might not see it. But then, it, like, dude, I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of us are going to see it on Thursday. Yeah. Maybe we'll go full spoilers on Friday. Yeah, maybe that's what we'll do. Yeah, I gotta do the first night for a new comic book movie. I got to. They still got me. They still got me. You know what I mean? Okay, everybody. Hey, I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, man. And I won't be seeing it, but I'm fine with a full spoiler stream. Well, there you go, brother. Appreciate the love. Thank you. Guys, before we get out of here, I just want to say, I really, really appreciate the support. Good support on that DC video. Great support on these streams. The numbers have been really great on the streams. I feel like the energy is strong. Like, we've been doing some really good streams. And I hope you can just forgive me. I need to take a couple of days away from the streams to make sure I have this other stuff figured out, and then we can get back to it. Bro, I know it's all about Fantastic Four this week, and I'm excited for the Fantastic Four. But in the coming months, moving towards next year, there's so many things that I want to do. So many interesting streams, so many interesting videos. It's a great time for nerdy shit, even with comic book stuff being on shaky ground. comic book stuff, shaky ground. It is a great time to be a nerd. You know, bunch of video game stuff, anime stuff happening, video games. I said twice. And then Warhammer, of course, is the fucking future. So I cannot wait. As soon as we get past Fantastic Four and Superman, oh my God, I'm going to convert you guys to Warhammer so fucking hard. You thought I was going hard on Warhammer now? Just wait. As soon as we get these summer comic book movies out of the way, it's goddamn Warhammer every day, all day, every day, forever. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Yeah, I saw them limited edition Star Wars Coke cans and they made me sick. Thank you for the 5. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Leave. Oh man, another happy landing. Ooh, baby. It's like, seriously, guys. Look, I know everybody's gone, so we can just talk just you and me. It's been a little weird because I'm all in on Warhammer. I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but I'm all in on Warhammer. And yet it seems like Marvel and DC, like, this might be a thing. Like, this might be actually happening. Like, we might have an actual competition, actual DC versus Marvel for not just this year, but for several years ahead. This is actually great for the content. This is great for the content, great for the community. It's crazy. Like, a lot, like, we have a lot. This is actually really cool. So I'm excited. You know, Den of Nerds going to continue. Marvel, Star Wars, hopefully they get their shit back. DC, hopefully they keep cooking. Anime, video games, all sorts of stuff. And then, of course, Warhammer. You know, it's coming, and it's the bestest, and we're all gonna love it. together. Mandatorily. You got to do it. That's what I'm saying. You got to. All right. Anyway, I'll see you guys later, man. Videos for the next couple of days. I'll still stream Wednesday night for the members, but other than that, I won't see you guys on stream probably until Thursday. Okay, so much love. Do me a favor though, on the way out. Actually, two. Open up your third eye and wash out your stinky, stinky butt. See you.